Hello, guys, and welcome to 2026. This is our first podcast, and it's very exciting for me to be talking about a new season, talking about Formula Sprint 2 and Formula Sprint 1 with Ed, Hunter and Menno Klont. Welcome, guys. Ed, new season for you. Obviously, moving to Formula Sprint 1 commentary. Are you excited about the new season and what's coming up?
Absolutely, Toby. It's wonderful to be here, and thank you very much for inviting me on. Obviously, I'm not just returning to partnering with my good friend Owen Harmon as FS1 commentator again. I'm also, of course, a team owner in FS2, with one of, I guess, the more experienced teams now, having done 2 seasons under my belt, but with a completely new set of drivers. So there's certainly going to be an interesting season ahead, and I'm looking forward to diving straight into the challenge and seeing if we sink or swim.
Absolutely. And Menno, I can see you're wearing a Malta Force top. Malta Force no more, but yes, you're obviously well known within the GPVWC community. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm Mr. GPV for a lot of people. Of course, I'm driving myself in FS1 for many years, and I'm the FS2 owner of Team Academy. I think everything of racing, what happens in GPV, I'm a bit involved in, and yeah, for this season, I'm just really looking forward also to the lowest 2 tiers in GPV, and I'm just excited to see what it will all bring the whole season.
Absolutely.
Lowest tiers feels a little demeaning. Maybe beginning tiers, yes.
I mean,
starting tiers.
I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? With the GPVWC career ladders, you start in academy, get picked up for Formula Sprint 2, move your way up to Formula Sprint 1, and then, of course, to SL2 and SL1, and you could end up driving for Menno's SL1 team Adonis if you're good enough eventually. So that's, I mean, absolutely how it works in GPV, and it's a great system, and we've seen people come through, haven't we, Ed, over the last few years from FS2 and end up in SL1, like Mounier, for example, won the title last year doing just that.
Yeah, good example. Jake Dennehan, another big one that went all the way from FS2 to Super League champion. We also got teams like TOP that were FS1 champions when I started commentating a couple of years ago, and now they're race winners in Super League as well. So, yeah, if there's a will, there's a way, not just on the driving front, but the management want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And Menno, you've been around a long time. You've seen teams come and go, and we're going to talk about some in a minute, but it is a great system, isn't it? And having the academy there and being able to promote people into your team in FS2 to try out and try and get a full-time drive is great for the league.
Yeah, what it mainly is a lot of people on the current GPV grid started in the academy series and then were promoted to either the academy team in FS2 or made directly the jump from the academy series to another team. But yeah, the academy team in FS2 was just really important. And even if they did 1 or 2 races and then got promoted to a more primary deal in FS2 or even in a higher tier, it is just very rewarding to start at the lowest part of the ladder and then move your way up. And I think a lot of find it motivating to walk the ladder. Some want to be in the top, but some also want to be starting downwards, and that's part of the journey in the league.
It is a journey. Absolutely is a journey. And we've just been talking about it. Let's start with the Formula Sprint 2 teams. We're going to rank these into tier lists, and we're going to talk about where we think those teams will be. Let's start with, I think probably this is the tier list. We've got championship contenders, best of the rest, midfield, lower midfield, and they're going to struggle.
That was my diplomatic term for, I didn't want to put back markers because I thought that just implies they're not trying, whereas they're going to struggle is sort of, there could be various factors behind why they struggle rather than just they're not good, which feels a bit insulting.
No, it's great. It's great. I love it. So let's start with the GPVWC Academy team. I think it's fairly obvious for me that these drivers are just Academy drivers that have an opportunity to do some rounds in FS2. We do sometimes see very, very quick drivers come in that Menno brings in from Academy, and then they get signed by another team in FS2, and it's a great system, but it's such a up and down one. You sometimes only have one driver, don't you? So where do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I would put them on the lowest part. Like they will struggle because what will happen is that I will have driver signs, but they always have the chance to go to a primary deal quite late. If another team can offer them a better seat, they can go. So that is for a team which has got a problem with a driver. It's really nice, but it's for the team itself and for the well team ranked position, it is not ideal, of course, but that's not what the academy team is needed. So, yeah, we can go well, but they're also part of it will they will struggle is I think justified. I would say.
Yeah, Ed.
I think sort of similar. I was almost thinking of maybe putting them as sort of lower midfield because obviously they start with Menno Klont and David Granville, who've both been pretty solid in academy. I was watching the race at Istanbul, and I was impressed by Menno Klont, and particularly there, he seems to be really a lot stronger than he was the last couple of seasons. He's really come a long way. So I was really impressed to see him just driving against the likes of like Luca Filin and doing like 2-in-1 moves and stuff like that. So I always find that entertaining. So I think Menno is a good shout. If someone was, say, like my team, for instance, looking for a reserve driver, Menno might be one of the ones on our shortlist. So yeah, as you say, might not imagine the lineup be the same at the end of the season as it is at the start for Menno's team.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to add is that what we had, I had another driver signed, let's say briefly for maybe 10 hours, 12 hours, and then the driver, what was it? Amir Hasik. He already left my team to go to another FS2 team, which we get on later. So the system is already working even this year, and that's the nice thing to see is that you have a deal made for a driver to drive in the league, and then somebody comes like, oh, I need him. Can I have him? Yes.
That happened with, wasn't it Mateus Maica, who joined a season or two ago and then just dominated the FS2 championship in the end. And I think Maggio was an academy driver, Alessandro Maggio to begin with too as well.
So we're going to put them in. They're going to struggle, I think, and move on, and keep an eye on some of the drivers coming through and getting actual seats. Right, next we have the first of the new teams, McManus Motorsports. Kyle McManus's squad has signed Alfie Denley and Shimon Kanda, from what I can tell. So we have two drivers that appeared in Formula Sprint 2 last season. Shimon Kanda had a couple of points finishes, but nothing too spicy beyond that. And Alfie Denley is the same thing. He had a couple of top 10s. So I'll see what you guys think first, but I know where I think they should be. So I'll start with Ed this time.
Yeah, it's an interesting lineup. Kyle McManus is certainly what we would call a character. So it's great to have a new team owner on the grid who's certainly going to bring his own unique style. But yeah, McManus have gone for Denley and Kanda. As you say, they were sort of, for a while, a season or two, they were academy drivers and they're just making their first steps into FS2. Kanda's actually driven for my team. He subbed in a race a season or two ago at Singapore, and I thought he was pretty solid. And Alfie Denley, I think, is pretty quick, but occasionally a little bit inconsistent. And I think you could probably say the same of Simon as well, to be honest. So I think there's a bit of learning to do, but I expect both of them to get a little bit stronger as the season gets on. But yeah, I would sort of put them fairly solidly in lower midfield. Yeah,
Menno?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. They've got a quite a decent lineup with what is it, Alfie and Shimon Kanda. The thing is, what I would say with the team, the word that comes to mind is maybe a little bit of inconsistency. Is that like talent is there, but results are not always there. At least for the drivers. Of course, this is a new project for them. I'm not sure what it will bring. I think it will be bringing ups and downs, and that's what I actually will think. I think they will hit the mark and will get podiums. I think that can be possible, but they can also struggle. And what did I put them? Lower midfield as well.
Okay, I mean, I think they're going to struggle. Is a category that you could put them in. I'm happy to go lower midfield as well. To be honest with you, to match you guys. So yeah, no drama from me. They, as I say, they had only a couple of top 10 finishes last season, those two drivers, but it's a new season. and people do improve over the winter. But yeah,
and the other
I
thing
think-
as well, Toby, is that in a reverse grid draw, if they get a good reverse grid draw at a track like, say, Singapore,
Yeah.
for instance, then you never know what could happen. So
Yeah, it
it's
could
always a
easily
bit
get top
difficult
five.
to tell, because there's so much of this that I don't want to say is completely a lottery in FS2, because a lot of hard work goes into it as well. But you can get a bit of good luck and get an amazing result that turns your season around.
Yep, 100%. Next, we have another muck. We've got McKenna Racing. This one from Ireland, and they, as far as I know, have got Filip Travinski and Juho Sopanen. Juho, we know inside the commentary team, he does the academy commentary. Filip Travinski obviously has done a couple of seasons now, I think, in Formula Sprint 2. He finished 11th last season, did take a victory at Germany. So race winner in that squad. I think they'll surprise a few. I want to see what your thoughts are. Menno first. I think we'll go Menno first. What do you think?
Yeah, for this team, I think they've got quite a good entry. So yeah, it's a new team, but a team that I believe tried to get in the league for longer, and they've got quite a good lineup of experience, and yeah, a kind of new guy in Juho still. Yeah, with Filip, I think Filip is now in a place where he can actually, yeah, he did the learning. He got that win last year, I believe, in the Nürburgring, and I expect Filip will be doing well. And I think with Juho is, yeah, Juho is a bit behind Filip in the learning curve. But I think with Juho, it is just he needs to trust himself, trust the process, and I think Juho will also make a step this year. And yeah, I think this team could actually be one of the surprises of the year. That's actually how I rank them. I actually put them in a best of the rest myself.
Yeah, I can see that, Ed.
Yeah, I think I had sort of similar thoughts to Matt. Obviously, great to see. No, McKenna's another of those drivers you always recognise from the academy grid, so it's great to see him entering a team, throwing his hat very much into the ring. And he's, I think, Filip and Juho, two very, very popular drivers. Filip was a bit of a thorn in our side last season on several occasions. Very, very quick when he gets the opportunity to be so, and definitely could be a very regular point scorer. And Juho has only scored a couple of FS2 points his name so far, but he's gaining a lot of experience very, very quickly. He's a very likable young man, as Juho, and he's certainly putting a lot of effort in. So I wish him all the best. I think I would go slightly sort of less best of the rest, as Menno put it. I think I might put them top of the sort of midfield, middle rank, rather than into the sort of second tier in my book. But I can definitely see the argument for him. I think they're definitely going to be, as Menno said, one of the surprise packages of our new teams.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to be championship contenders, I wouldn't say. But Filip Travinski, I think, has done better last season than he did the season before. And yeah, for me, he's already taken a victory and probably could take another. So, this season, I think, if I'm being honest, I think therefore I would put them in best of the rest. I think Juho has developed, but I can see the argument that's made for midfield. I think for...
I feel like I'm being quite cruel to Juho unintentionally.
I mean, look, as you say, he didn't do it. I don't think he did a full season last season.
He even scored a point for our team as well. So
yeah, so he only did the second half of the last season and had some point scoring results. Yeah, I mean, I've got the deciding vote. Let's put them in midfield and see how we feel at the end for now.
I've won, but at what cost to my relationship with
Well,
Juho and Filip?
Well, I'm sure we'll
They'll
get some
forgive me,
YouTube
they'll
comments
forgive me.
coming in. Right, next on our list, we've got Fox, run by James Knox. They've got a very solid driver in Magnus Ockenhaug, as you well know, Ed, and Christian Glamsetter has come on board as well. I have my own thoughts as to where this team will be. What do you think, though, Ed? I mean, you know Magnus well.
I do. He did the whole season of his last year, and it finished narrowly fourth in the Drivers' Championship, won a couple of reverse grid races. That tends to be the circumstances where he really, really excels, although he's as we know, obviously in a pretty good qualifier, especially when it rains as well. And I think he's going to be a very, very strong lead driver, as he was indeed for us last season. And James Knox himself pretty quick behind the wheel as well, it must be said. So again, an interesting decision for him to become a team owner. I guess Fox Esports rhymes with Knox, so I guess that's what name. Speaking of the other driver, Christian Glamsetter, both from Norway, him and Magnus, so they get on very, very well. And I'm sure Magnus will be sharing all the setups with Christian that he wanted to share last season but couldn't because he drove for my team. So Christian, I'm sure he was scoring a couple more points as the season went on. And I think he's another of those drivers that's sort of in his second kind of full season and gaining a lot of experience. So, I think Christian could be a regular threat for points, but I think Magnus will probably be the one scoring the lion's share of them, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him challenging for wins yet again. Yeah. So I think I would put the team as a whole, into sort of best of the rest. I think there's enough to justify that there.
Menno, what do you think?
I really agree with that. I think Fox Esports, the second Fox in GPV. We had another Fox team a long time ago, if people remember, from Bartavos. But this one is from James Knox, and the Norway combination is really good. With Magnus, of course, you had a driver that already finished. What was it? Fourth in the Drivers' Championship the last 2 years.
He's frustrated. He really wanted that third. He missed out by, I think, a point or two because he flagged it in the final race.
Yeah, and he's just a safe bet for any team, and I think you would agree with that, Ed, because he was your driver. Get his countrymen with it. That's important because you have also a bit of a bond with your nationality, and I think that will be really good. And I would say I would write Magnus down for maybe 1 or 2 wins. I think it will be race 2 victories, but sometimes you don't see it, and then Magnus is there and he just makes it work, and he gets that reversed either win or podium, so not count him out. And I also think Christian Glamsetter can do well. Will score more podiums than last year. I believe he had 1 last year. I think he will at least triple that, and I think he can also get a race win in. I do think so. I put the team also best of the rest. I really think this team can do it.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. They're best of the rest all day, aren't they? Magnus is potentially could fight for the title. I think Glamsetter, has had a couple of podiums from memory, but I don't think they have the 2 drivers that can really challenge for the title. I think there's some other stronger teams. One that's an absolute favourite for me. I think best of the rest is absolutely fine for James Knox's Fox Esports. Right.
All the animals tonight, isn't it? Fox and now a cat as well, Toby.
This one's Daisy.
Is she entering a team too?
I know, yeah. So we've got Emerald Overdrive next, another new team. This one is Thijs Jongstra and Dan Hayek, and they have both been around a lot over the last few years. Thijs Jongstra, P5, 6 in the championship last year, I think. And Dan, obviously, we know Dan as well. I think these guys are very competent, and I can see them being in best of the rest easily. I'm going to say my vote first. I think they'll probably get 1 or 2 wins potentially over the course of a 32-round season. So that's where I've got them.
Yeah.
Menno?
I think this is a quite difficult one to rank. The Emerald Overdrive team. Also a new team, but a team that also, I believe, tried to get in for longer. With Thijs, they got a really good driver that did well last year. I believe he got 1 or 2 wins. I believe 6th in the championship, out of the back of my mind.
6th, fine.
He will deliver. I think that will be good. He will do well this year. And then we got Dan Hajek. And with Dan Hajek, I think Dan Hajek is a really good driver, but you don't know what you will get with Dan Hajek. It's like a dice, and sometimes you throw 6, sometimes you throw 1 with 1 eye, and and that's a bit more difficult to see what he is doing. But if he connects with the car, the team will do well. I put them in midfield myself.
Okay.
Because of that, a little bit uncertainty.
Ed, where do you feel?
I agree with Menno because they are a tough one to rank because they're so experienced. Ty's was very, very solid, incredibly difficult on occasions to pass last season when he drove for RNG, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was RNG, yes. And then Dan Hayek, obviously, also a race winner himself for a couple of seasons back. And I think most recently drove for Reading Game a couple of seasons ago. And yeah, certainly Dan is more of a consistent point scorer. But as you say, they've got so much experience that's definitely going to help them in certain situations this season. I think I sort of put them at the sort of bottom end of best of the rest, but I think it's difficult to pick. I think I very much expect Ty's to be the big point scorer and Dan occasionally sort of backing him up with maybe a couple of tracks where Dan is particularly strong at. But I think it's always just going to come down to, as Menno said, whether they like the car or not. But yeah, again, it's a really strong lineup for a new team, and you can see why Nathaniel Skarupa has gone for it.
Yeah, I was 2-1 for best of the rest then, isn't it? I think so that's where they're going. I think they could surprise a few people, to be honest. More than happy to be proven wrong one way or the other as per usual, but that's what I think. So yes, that's where they're going. Next we have Elk International, which Amir Oates' squad have signed. Now, they had originally signed, from what I heard, was Alex Lahou, which I believe caused a bit of chaos. And there's now a smurfing rule in the regulations. It's smurfing rule, obviously. But yeah, preventing people from coming down from like Super League to come down to FS2, and especially if you're a former champion or a race winner or a pole sitter or a podium finisher in the top leagues, you shouldn't really be in what is supposed to be a development championship. And then but nevertheless, they've still got Mika Hikimi, and for the first round, Ayman Asabir, who I don't know anything about, but Mika Hikimi is a very talented driver who I don't think puts enough effort into GPVWC. This team is an unknown, therefore. So, I mean, I like Amir a lot. He's got a lot of really good qualities as a commentator, as a person. I think he'll get a solid lineup. It might well be this for the rest of the season. But it would be remiss of me to put them anywhere else other than midfield, I think. I'll start with Menno this time. Where do you position Elk International?
Actually need to look where I put them. I also put them in the midfield, and yeah, we talked about with different teams before a bit of uncertainty. I think this is also a team with a bit uncertainty. What will happen? It's very difficult to rank them. With Ayman Asabir, like you, it is not somebody that I know a lot of. I saw him race a couple of times, and yeah, it wasn't bad, but it also for FS2 standards, it is difficult to say, will he be up to speed? If not, what will be the deficit? So yeah, he was really difficult to rank. And of course with Mika Hakimi, yeah, he can win races, get podiums or at least top 5, top 10s. So with that, they got a good driver. But I think the uncertainty, I would put them in the midfield for now, because yeah, it's just difficult to rank. But yeah,
Sure.
they got an interesting but good lineup still.
Okay, Ed.
Yeah, well, I think I agree with most of what both of you have said. I think Amir, brilliant team owner, and I love talking to him about his team because I've competed in a couple of other championships, and Amir is always a very, very helpful, friendly presence. I think Mika Hakimi is an excellent choice for sort of a lead driver. He's got so much pedigree under his belt. I've been commentating on him in sort of endurance racing, where he's won a couple of titles, and obviously used to drive for Toyota Gazoo Racing and sort of touring cars in real life as well. So he's got a lot of pedigree under him. I think, Toby, you were a little harsh saying, oh well, it depends if he puts enough effort in. And I think, I always feel like with teams and drivers, it's a two-way street, that the team has got to put a lot of effort in the driver and vice versa. It's not just a case of the driver does everything, to sign him up, and the team owner lays back and sips a couple of martinis while the drivers do all the work. I think even in FS2, I don't think it should be quite that easy to be a team owner. But I think Mika will definitely be very, very quick. It's just a matter of whether he stays out of trouble, whether he puts that extra little effort into the setups to make sure they're perfected when it comes down to it. But I think if Mika commits to the full season, then he's going to be very, very strong. And he's definitely one of the best drivers that Malaysia's got to offer, I think. Ayman Asabir, sort of similar to Menno, I've not seen a whole lot of him, but I know Amir thinks and speaks very, very highly of him. So I'm going to give Ayman the benefit of the doubt and put them in best of the rest, because Mika Hakimi's just that strong a driver that I think even if Asabir is able to sneak a couple of points, it'll be enough to get them solidly maybe in the top 6 or top 5 or so.
Completely. I mean, it's a toss-up between the two, and I completely understand where you're coming from, Ed. But I think we've outvoted.
Well, so it's lost a vote finally.
Midfield for this one. Which midfield, Remco? For Elk, please. Thank you.
Mika Hakimi has a nickname. Mika Hakimi has a nickname, Mega Hakimi, that we used to call him as well. So we'll see if he lives up to that.
Look, he's very, very quick and won a race last season, didn't he? So on his only round, but that's the key, isn't it? It was his only round. Let's see if he sticks around with Elk, and hopefully he does. For Amir's sake, Chimera next. We're getting through these teams. We're almost finished with the new teams. This is a squad apparently based out of Japan. Albert Dreiner is the team manager, and they've got Rafael Arham and Gabriel Ramos. I don't think they've actually got Gabriel Ramos for the first round. They've got Andy Park for the first round. Is my understanding. I'm afraid I know nothing of this team. They are very, very new to me, and I don't recognize these names at all. So we have seen Gabriel Ramos previously, and I don't know how. I don't think he was very competitive. So they've got Andy Park. I don't know who that is. Very difficult for me to put them anywhere sensible. Maybe you guys know a bit more than me, and I'll just follow with what you guys say. So let's see what you say, Ed.
Well, I can tell you that a chimera is a monstrous, fire-breathing mythological creature made up of several different animals. Nice. So a bit of a hodgepodge. So maybe that's Albert's inspiration for the name. I thought Rafael Arnhem was solid in preseason testing, which is the most I've really seen of him. So nothing, I think, too exciting to write home about what we've seen so far. But they could surprise us. You never know. But I think, based on what we know now, I think they're gonna struggle a little bit, especially if they haven't got a consistent lineup through the whole season, having to change out drivers here and there. But yeah, hopefully they can maybe get, I don't want to say get lucky, but sort of sneak a few points here and then, upset some of the more established teams. But I think it's probably going to be a little bit uphill, especially at the beginning of the season.
Fair enough.
Menno, would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, I think we've got kind of the same outlook on it. From what I understand is that, what's his name? Andy Park. I think he might be in for longer, maybe for the whole season, with Mr. Ramos out. New team, and but I actually don't know too much from this team. With Rafael Arhem, he did some races. He was not mega quick, but I believe he's also very young. So the development needs to be there during the season. And does that mean in Australia already he will be competitive? No, I don't think so. I think this is a project for the longer term for a driver like that. And then we've got Andy Park, and I believe he's from South America somewhere, which is very interesting with the time difference. I don't know anything about him as well, and that makes it difficult to rank. I believe his testing times were competitive, but we didn't see him race. He did not even do Academy Series. And with that, I put them in the tier they're going to struggle. They're
Okay.
going to struggle.
I think, I mean, is that where you've got them as well, Ed?
Yeah, I think I put them in the bottom tier mainly because it's just so difficult to rank them
Really?
based
Yeah.
on very little
More than
info.
happy to more than happy to go with that. I mean, obviously we've got Gabriel Ramos listed, but actually now that the spotter guide is released for the first round, you know, either way, we don't know very much about them, and certainly I don't know anything competitive that any of those guys have done. I tried to find it, and it's just not there. So
I think it's actually a building program. I think from Australia they might not be the best form of the team yet, but I think during the season they need to make steps, and if they make steps and they prove they belong, I think then a season there is already good, like in fixed for them. But yeah, they need to do that. Just build up.
yeah, absolutely. Let's hope that happens. Final new team then in Formula Sprint 2 is Aqualai Racing. Victor Bernat has got his team. Lovely logo. David Yunt is a former champion of Formula Sprint 2 a long time ago. And Mark Schlaggy is, he's had some results for sure. He's had, let's have a quick look. He's had, a podium at Italy, I believe, in that famous race too. So yeah, he's had a podium, and we know that David Yunt on his day can be very good. I think these guys are definitely midfield contenders. Let's see if David commits, because he quite often comes in and out of racing these days. David wouldn't mind me saying that he's getting a little long in the tooth, shall we say.
I think he would struggle to disagree with that, given he's been around a while. But yeah, I think I really like the team. I think Victor Bernat is another of those drivers that's always been in and around, fairly active. And as you say, they've got a lovely logo, lovely livery as well on that Aquile car. And I think Sislagi and Yent, plenty of experience. And I think Mark with a fairly recent podium. David, obviously, his title was a while ago, but he's always willing to. I think it's a case for David that he needs to sort of feel that a team's moving in the right direction, that everybody is working together in the right way, and then he's always happy to pitch in. And I think if he feels a little bit left out and sort of left on his own, then that's where David tends to sort of lose a bit of interest. So yeah, hopefully, because I think when David's at his best, he can be incredibly consistent and solid. So yeah, I sort of put them very, very solidly in the midfield.
Yeah, and one thing to note before we hear from Menno is that Victor Bernat himself is driving for Scuderia Freccianera, so I guess there's the possibility. Okay. Yeah, so I guess there's the possibility we'll get to Freccianera in a bit. That those two teams are probably working together setup wise potentially, which will benefit both squads having that extra feedback. So there's possibility for that. I don't know for sure, but I would suspect so. Yeah, Menno, where would you put Aqualai?
I would say definitely midfield with some higher jumps maybe in some of the races. I think they got a good mix from a very experienced driver in David Yunt. I believe he wasn't a champion, but I believe he was second. But he was kind of close. I think a long time ago. Sorry, David. And a good rookie with Mark Schlaggy. I think I look a bit like. If I see Mark Schlaggy, he reminds me a bit like Christian Glamsetter, those drivers that came in halfway last year, and you just see them learning how the league works. And then you've got the winter break, and they develop, and then for their first full season, they will make a step in performance. And with Schlaggy, I think if he focuses, then he will be very good. And he will prove himself, being a very good driver. And I think the team, has got ambition and a very good, solid start base to start on. And this can bring a lot of good results. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm happy with midfield. I think that's the right place for Aqualai. Right, first of the existing teams These guys have been around for a long time, and it's great to have these sorts of teams on the grid. And ST Racing is the squad, and we have driving for them. We have Mihailo Vicentijevic and Hansko Mebius. Now Mihailo is he turns up, he drives, he's very committed to GPVWC. I think he will be the first to admit that he isn't the fastest driver on the planet, and occasionally scores points, but really loves his sim racing and really loves being part of the community. And as his company MV Conquest has actually partnered with GPVWC, so we're very grateful to Mihailo Vicentijevic for that. Hansko Mebius, do I know much about him? I don't believe so, but I do believe that these guys are going to struggle this season. I think that's the correct category for them. Ed?
Difficult to really argue with that. One thing I will say for Mihailo Vicentijevic is last season in Spain, I think it was a reverse grid race. So there was a big crash on the first lap, sort of Hamilton-Rosberg style thing for 3 and 4 that took out, I think, a significant number of the field. But Mihailo Vicentijevic avoided it, and I think finished, was it 15th or 14th? Just nabbed a couple of points, and that was the first points he'd scored in, I think, 3 or 4 seasons. But I think nobody begrudged him that. Everybody said, you know what, he deserves it. And I think that really goes to show that as much as sometimes that he, as you say, he's not always the very, very fastest, but he's been at this for so long and built up so much goodwill across the community.
Yeah,
that I think I think if he scores another couple of points this season, I don't think anybody. I think it'll be a similar situation because everyone knows how hard he works. And Hansko, I haven't seen him in too much action either, but he could surprise us. You never know. But based on what we know, I think they're probably going to struggle. But part of me is still rooting for Mihailo to put in another giant killing performance. I think we have to call it giant killing.
Hansko Mebius was last in Formula Sprint 2 in 2016.
A while ago then, about 10 years ago.
Menno, where would you put these guys?
Yeah, well, I put them sadly in they're going to struggle. That's just what it is at the moment.
Yep.
I actually know Hansko quite well for a long time. Even before GPV, Hansko was sim racing, and I raced so many races with him. And in 2016, he quit, and now he's back. I believe around 2016 he was quite competitive. He sold all of his sim gear, and recently bought it back. And I think the problems he now has with RF2 in the current testing is that he's fine-tuning his pedals and everything, and that's he struggles a bit with the current feeling. But if he can get that feeling back like he had it 10 years ago, then the team will be way more competitive with him. I look forward what he can do if he can make that step in performance. And well, with Mihailo, of course, he got some points last year after, I believe, the years before he didn't score points, and that was just like the whole chat went crazy. I remember the Discord chat went crazy. Just you can be happy for somebody achieving it, even if it's only points. I think we all remember that Mark Webber drive in F1 all these years with Minardi. It just, you want to root for the underdog. I think a lot of people that watch our stream do that, and I've got a lot of respect for Mihailo. He's putting it in, and sometimes his lap times are quite competitive. It will not. It will never be at the front, at the forefront of the FS2 grid. No, I don't expect that. But he just does generally very, like he still, I think, improves himself, and I think that's important. And I believe even Hansko has got more starts than Mihailo in FS2. So think about that. So it is a very experienced lineup, but still, like, there's a lot of work to be done. So I think it's fair to put them in the lowest option we have of the tier list.
Perfect. Right, let's move to VMS Sun Edits. Menno, would you like to go first on VMS as well?
Oh, the Dutch team, yeah, of course. As a Dutch, yeah. I think this is already the third year in the series, or maybe fourth. They are in there for quite a while. It's a very interesting team with, of course, Justin, who everybody knows, and David de Vrij, who won a race, I believe, last year in, I would say, Mexico. No,
It was Mexico, I think.
yeah, was it Mexico?
Race 1.
Yeah,
if I'm
yeah,
not
it was
mistaken.
race 1 because I thought, yeah, and yeah, this just in generally it's a perfect mid-tier team. I think the drivers can surprise, and definitely in this season they can get podiums and maybe even more, like David de Vrij did. Yeah, they will not challenge for championships, but they can be quite good. I put them in the midfield ranking. Yeah, I think David de Vrij, he made a step up in the second half of last season, and hopefully he can keep that. I think the main question is Justin van der Smith, and he is in the league now for longer, and I know how hard he's training, and he is trying really hard. And I think it is time for Justin to have that one race again where he shows that, yes, this is where I work. This is why I sim race. And I think he didn't have enough success in GPV for now. And I hope this year he can do something. But yeah, as the team wise, I would put him in midfield.
Okay, Ed.
Yeah, I think VMS, a team, they've been around, as you say, about 3 years, because they did a season in FS2 where I remember Justin won, I think, a reverse grid race at Saudi Arabia, I think it was, in Jeddah. Because I remember doing all the season previews and using that clip a lot. And then they moved up to FS1 in 2024. They had a very difficult FS1 campaign, if memory serves, where Justin was only able to score a couple of points. And that was when de Vrij joined him. And then they moved back down to FS2. And last year felt like very much a rebuilding year for both of them. And yeah, definitely good. It was brilliant to see David de Vrij really sort of come of age and start showing what I think he was always capable of doing, because Justin said that David had been able to really put in some impressive performances outside of RF2, and he was still learning it throughout a lot of the of 2024. And it was only really second half of 25 where everything started to click together. And yeah, I think I was tempted almost to put them in best of the rest, but I think the question mark is probably going now Justin, whether he can sort of match those amazing qualifying and race performances of his teammate. And I think it's a case of Justin is definitely to be fighting for every single point he can get, essentially. And he's a brilliant livery maker as well. But I think my in the end, I went for sort of very, very upper level of midfield rather than the rest of the rest.
Okay, I mean, I didn't think that. I got them in. I mean, they finished 12th out of 16 last season, so
it came together very late for that team last season.
Yeah,
admittedly.
I had them sort of lower midfield or midfield. So I mean, I'm outvoted. Our midfield is probably where we should put them, but
yeah,
I went for midfield as well.
But I think we can all agree this is a team that needs to hit the ground running.
Yeah,
for their ambitions to be right, and not wait until the second half of the season to get along with it.
100%. Right, Scuderia Freccianera is next, and they did okay last season. They obviously have got Victor Bernat, who finished the season off for them, and Kanaya, who also finished the season off for them. So they got a solid continuance of drivers. They started the season with two completely different drivers in Karatko and
it was the Bulgarian guy, wasn't
it? No, Josh Flynn.
Oh, Josh Flynn, yeah.
Okay. Josh Flynn. But obviously finished the season with Victor and with Kanaya. I think they'll do well. I think I could see them being. I know that Victor was fighting at the front a couple of times. I think he had a couple of podiums, maybe 3 podiums last season. Kanaya was regularly top 10, I think. So these guys, I can see them being best of the rest, personally. And that's my opinion. Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, I think I put them in midfield because I think Chinaglia and Bernat are definitely very, very good on occasion, but
Yeah.
the team only really sort of came together middle of last season. Essentially, they were really struggling for sort of consistency in the driver lineup, and I think Bernat was very, very solid in academy, and he's improved and carried that form with him into FS2. And I think Chinaglia is one of those guys that's always sort of chomping at the bit to get a sort of full-time drive, and it's good to see him finally get it. So I think they could excel. I sort of put them in midfield because it was a little bit tricky for me to tell beyond that, but I think they could be quite strong out of the gate coming into Melbourne.
Well, Menno, you've got the decider then.
Yeah, and I also put them in midfield, and I think that
you lose, Toby. You lose.
Another one for the midfield. I think what it is, Frictionera. I think they, as a team, already developed themselves because they were lower down, I believe, a couple of years ago. So they already are making a step in. However, with Bernat and also with Chinaglia, they sometimes DNF and sometimes of a bit strange reasons. Mainly, I think Andrea Chinaglia, and if he stops doing that and just gets points and even more, then the world is at their feet and they can jump from the midfield higher. But and I would say this team I actually wrote down, at least in my mind, for a surprise win somewhere. And I would not be surprised. I think the lineup has it in them to do that.
Yeah, I can see them being 6th or 7th, 8th, maybe in the constructors, or 4th or 10th. So it's one of those teams, isn't it? So I'm happy with them in midfield. It's between lower midfield and best of the rest. I think we've got a bunch of teams that can be in there, and not so much at the top and the bottom. So there's a few that's going to be in those sorts of crossover areas. Right, let's move on to we've got Mapesvo. This is an interesting one. So Samui Slavev has been around the Discord for a while.
He's very vocal, that's for sure.
He's very vocal. Cody Lakovsky, I believe, is a very talented driver, from what I can tell. And
he certainly is in iRacing.
Yeah, so and we know sometimes these iRacing hotshots come in, disappear for a while, come back. If Cody sticks it out and competes properly, then he could be fighting for the title. So I think this is a very strong lineup. Slavev is not slow at all himself. He is top 10 candidate when he's behaving himself. Hopefully he's matured over the winter a little bit, and if that's the case, then these two guys could be fighting for the title, in my opinion. For sure, Cody will in the drivers if he stays around. So it's difficult for me to put them in championship contenders. I think there's a team that's on paper a little bit stronger. If Cody stays around, they're probably championship contenders, in my opinion. But let's see what you guys think. Who went first last time?
I think it was me.
So, Menno?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a boring thing to say, but I kind of agree with you for championship contenders. From what I've seen from Cody, and of course I also look into if I see a new name, who is that, and I saw the preseason tests, etc. And I think Cody is looking really good, and I would say he will be a challenger for the driver's title, in my opinion, and with that he will drag the team with him. With Mr. Slavev, I think what he needs to do is just work hard and just get the results in. And I believe a couple of times we saw him in top 10, if not better, in FS2 last year, and he needs to be doing that more regularly, and then he will make sure that the team will be in some sort of championship contention. And but it is interesting because of course Samuel also got his own team in FS2, which also complicate things, maybe not, but it gives a solid base for them to go. And for a team that had a lot of success in all those years ago in Super League, I believe, 2000s, maybe VO, and
Yeah,
maybe
2003,
those,
2004, they won the drivers'
yeah,
title, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So maybe those times come back for a championship challenge at least, and who knows?
Yeah, what do you think, Ed? Are you on board with what we think?
I think I'm definitely on the board with the idea of Cody and Nikola Latkovsky being a title contender, because he was so quick, so consistent in preseason testing, and talking to him afterwards when recovering the test, he just seemed so confident and sort of relaxed, and sort of definitely that sort of confidence bleeds through. I think sometimes into how they perform on track. If they're feeling comfortable, they know what they're doing, and I think there's a lot of transferable skills from iRacing to R-Factor too. I think there's no big secret of that. In terms of the team itself, I think Matthew Maple, it was great to see them come back last season. It was a bit of a shame that they sort of lost their lead driver, I think, midway through the season, and they've had that sort of scramble since then. But I think Cody's, if anything, a more than, I don't want to say replacement, because he's not really replacing anybody, he's being himself, but I think he's a great lead driver choice. I think Matthew Maple is a great team boss. Samuel Slavev, I think, as he said, I think it's not speed that is his Achilles heel. It's definitely that there were a couple of times where he was kind of his own worst enemy, mainly on track, it must be said. Where there's a couple of things that sort of happened, and we certainly heard about it afterwards, even if we weren't involved. So I think Samuel, I think he has the potential to be a very, very solid and quick driver. I think he needs to just make sure he builds on some of the strengths that he showed last season, because they were definitely there. And I think if he does that, then Mapes VO could very well be one of the teams competing for teams championship. I think drivers is more likely, but I think teams, I wouldn't rule it out. So yeah, I think they definitely belong in that championship contender tier, if only for Cody's presence. But I think Samuels is good enough to sort of get them over the line.
I think we're all in agreement then.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice. This is going awfully well.
It's almost like we're pressed for time.
Well, I mean, we could chat about this all day, but we're not really disagreeing on much. This is good stuff.
We will. I think that will come. I think.
Well, there's one big team coming at the end. It'll be interesting to hear what you two have to say.
Yeah, big team. Dan Hutt is next with Hutt Performance Engineering. Johannes Leppert is back. Dan Hutt is not actually driving. As far as I'm aware, the first round is Amir Hazik, who I don't know a great deal about. Johannes is a solid-ish driver. And Amir, I don't know anything about. So I can only really put these guys in lower midfield. Let's see what happens. That's my personal opinion, but I'll go with Ed first on this one and see what you think, Ed.
Yeah, I think Hutt Performance a pretty interesting team. I think Dan, it's great to see him sort of very much in for the long haul, and the team is always a very welcome presence on the grid. Great liveries as well. Amir Hazik I actually know fairly well, because he's I've worked with him in commentary and a lot of endurance racing as well, and he's done a bit of driving as well, as you can tell. And I think him and Hakimi sort of run in a lot of the same circles. They're both part of, I think, Blue Steel Racing, in memory serves. But yeah, Amir Hazik, I think is very, very solid in endurance racing. Whether that necessarily translates to single seaters, I think remains to be seen. I've only seen him do a couple of single seaters, and he was sort of okay. I think he was pretty good. There's something to build on there. Johannes Leppert, I think, a couple of really, really strong rounds last season. But overall, I think there was a sense that a little bit too often he would sort of fade into the background, or there'd be a reverse grid draw and he'd fall back quite quickly, even if he qualified quite well as part of the reverse grid draw. So I definitely think Leppert is someone that could improve across the season, hopefully. But I know this sounds a bit harsh, but I've sort of put them in the lower midfield, even though I've said lovely things about Amir there.
Yeah, that's where I've got him. So, Menno?
Yeah, well, I'm agreeing more or less again with the both of you. From what I know, is indeed Johannes, who's back for more, I think, an even improvement on last year, which already was an improvement of the year before. For him, I just hope he can get a lost podium. I think that will motivate him so much, and we will not hear the end of it at the next GPV day. And he will get loads of free drinks just if he gets that. With Amir Hasik, from what I understand, he is in there for the whole season. And yeah, interesting. I saw him test in the Academy Series last week, and he was really quick. Only at the Academy Series race, he got crashed into, and then he lost a lot of time. So the Academy Series results doesn't suggest he is that quick as he actually was in practice. How does an Academy test translate to FS2? I'm not sure, but I think he can do quite well. However, I put the team for now also because they had the team lineup ready quite late. I put them in the lower midfield as well. So we're all agreement. Yeah, we're not getting crazy now. We need to get really different opinions. Come on.
It's quite nice, actually. It shows that we all think we know what we're talking about. We'll all be mildly wrong.
Well, speaking of which, I've been thinking of inviting Amir Hasik to the commentary box, but then Amir Oates, if we would get two Amirs, it would be too confusing. So I'm sure that we'd have to find some kind of solution to that.
Yeah. Can we do them in the same broadcast then?
Maybe merge them into the same person.
What do you think, Amir? Oh, it's going well, Amir. Oh, thank you, Amir. Next is Priority 1 Esports. Craig Patterson's consistently point scoring Formula Sprint 2 team. It's the very similar lineup to what they've had previously. I see no reason they won't do any worse or better than they have done. They were P8 last year, which is midfield. So they are midfield runners. In my opinion, we know Craig can win races. We know that Yunus Corralo is point scorer. Craig probably relies on reverse grids for those race wins when he gets them. But always nice to talk to Craig, and he's a great guy. Loves his Williams. But they were P8 out of 16 last year. They're midfield runners for me, and that's absolutely the case this season. I'm going to start with Menno though, and see what Menno thinks.
Yeah, well, my opinion is that they got a solid base. Of course, they had both drivers last year and now again. But I do know Yunus bought a new, way better wheel in the off season, and he started practicing hard with it.
Okay.
And with Craig, I think he was P3 in a championship a couple of years ago as well. So they're both quite gifted drivers, and I think you can write Craig down for at least having a chance of 1, 2, 3 victories. I think he might have more chances on victories. Maybe gets less victories than he gets chances, but he knows he thinks as a Craig thinks as a racing driver, and he will show that. So I think you can compare him a bit with Magnus. Is that they will always be there. If times get rough, Craig will be there. And with Yunus, I said for a long time, I think a while ago, you will win a race, and that will come. And I hope for Yunus, 2026 is the year. And okay, I might say that about another few as well, but I really hope Yunus can get that victory. He got, I believe, 2 podiums now. I believe a P3 and a P2, and that was all in 2024. But now with a new wheel, I just hope he can make that final step, and then Craig can be proud of Yunus, and they can boost the team. In my opinion, not to a championship contenders, but to best of the rest.
Okay, fine. Ed.
Well, I was just digging around, and I appear to have found the 2026 Priority 1 livery lying around. But anyway, in all seriousness, I think I agree completely with what we've been saying about Craig. He's just a lovely guy and very, very quick driver on occasion. I think his first win that he took in FS2, one of his first ones anyway, it was in a race one at Imola, I think back in 24, if memory serves correctly. So yeah, certainly he's had some. He's really he's a great team owner, and he's put in some stellar performances in FS2 recently, where he's been excelling. Even though last year was a little bit of a trickier year for the team, as you say, they were P8 and not. I think they admitted that they weren't quite where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
Eunice, obviously, as Menno mentioned, there was the issue with the wheel, so there's a sort of question mark because Eunice was able to he was having a difficult start to, I think, 24, and then he scored a podium. I think it was at Austria, and then he had a really good end to the season. Remember, there was that 1-2 they scored in the reverse grid race at Interlagos, where they had the BMW Williams livery, I think. So yeah, they'll be hoping to sort of return to those heights, and I think they can. I think the ability is there. So I'm going to give Eunice a bit of the benefit of the doubt, and I think Craig is going to be there or thereabouts, consistently strong no matter what, because you kind of be a fool to bet against Craig Patterson. So I think I'll put them very solidly in best of the rest.
I think you both made very good arguments for that, to be fair. I'm looking at last season, but I do think the grid has probably got slightly worse this season overall.
That feels like I think I know who that insult's directed towards.
No. But teams have moved up and drivers have moved on, haven't they?
That's true.
And I think even if it's the same lineup for Priority 1 and they finished 8th last season, you guys might be right. They might be.
Yeah. What I think is important, and that's something they didn't have in 2025. They need to keep the lineup in there in the same for the whole year. I think that's why the team struggled. If they keep the whole lineup ready and going and keep working from race week to race week, I think that they will not end up in P8, but a bit higher.
2 teams left. We've got first of all Orbit Motorsport, and these guys are my favorite for the team's title. Menno, what do you think? Let's start with you first, and then I'll finish with what I think.
Yeah, I actually think the same. If you look at the lineup, they got the lineup to the lineup that is everyone's to beat. So they've got Kasper Koritz, and of course they got Ben Skinner.
Yes, Ben Skinner.
And Ben is he was on a great form, I think, the last 3-4 rounds of the 2025 season. And I think nearly mugged Mikael Somala and Magnus from P3 and P4 of the Drivers' Championship. So I think with Ben Skinner, I think he can actually be the champion. I think he is my favorite. I would put him even a little bit higher than Cody because in my opinion is just Ben knows the league. He knows what it needs, and I think he's mentally also ready. And then Mr. Koritz. And I think for Kasper, I think he needs to just be mentally ready for it. I think the team is ready, but Kasper needs to drag that first win over the line, because Kasper is so unbelievably strong that if he can get, I think in the first 3-4 rounds of the season, if he can get that win in, I think he will relax more. And also I think Kasper Koritz is he's not favored for the drivers' title, but he can be the FS2 drivers' champion. He's got the ability for it. That's something I do believe. But he needs to train hard. So I would love to see Kasper make this step he didn't make last year. If he makes it this year, then it is it will be right, and I hope he does.
Ed.
Well, I definitely remember at Spa last season, Kasper Koritz quite in one fell swoop took out both of our drivers at the end of the Kemmel Straight, but I'm not going to hold that against him.
Because, sounds like you're not.
No. But anyway, it is a strong lineup though, in all seriousness, and I think dare I say an explosive lineup, although Ben is probably the very, very calming influence in that team, and I think, as you both said, he's going to do very, very well. So I find it hard for my bitterness to creep in to stop putting them as championship contenders. So I think just openly admit to the bitterness. I think that's the best way of getting around it. But yeah, in all fairness, Casper, his dad Kaido, I think it's his dad Kaido, is always in the stream supporting him, and that's lovely to see. So I didn't stay mad at Casper for too long, maybe a week or two, but no more than that until by the time the next race has come along, I've forgotten about it until now. But so yeah, I think Orbit's going to be very, very strong. And I think if Casper keeps his head, they could very well be teams champions. And I think Ben is definitely going to be fighting with the likes of Cody and a couple others for that driver's title, I think.
Yeah, 100%. The one thing I will say about both is that they both need to do a bit of maturing, and hopefully that has happened over the winter.
Well, I'm sure Samuel Slavev has got some experience to rely on that front.
I mean, there's a few guys in FS2 that let themselves down last season, and Casper knows how he did, and Ben Skinner did the same, and Samui as well. There's a few names out there, and I don't mind naming them. We've all talked about them in Discord. They've definitely got some growing up to do. Hopefully they've done so, because they're very, very quick guys. And when we talk to them, perfectly competent speakers, I know they're young, and there's an allowance for that. I really feel like these two, if they really do it properly, can be a real asset to GPVWC for many years to come. But they have to just realize that, and we want to have fun here, but it's an organization that's been going a long, long time with a lot of history, and it's we take it seriously, and I think hopefully that just generally guys in FS2 will realize that. So not just naming names, but these two in particular, if they keep their noses clean and do it properly and correctly, they'll be at the top. Hope everyone's agreement with me. I had to watch 16 races last season.
Well, I think it was double that, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry, 32 races, 16 rounds. So
no, but I agree. I think from all the teams that we have spoken of, I think they've got the most potential in their package. So I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, we've got Hunter Birch, simulation, Ed Hunter's team, and
oh boy,
we've been talking, Ed and myself, trying to help Layla improve her computer, and hopefully that has now happened.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
the noises have been very positive on that front. So.
Excellent news. And obviously Eric Brenner is alongside her. They're unknowns for me. Ed, obviously, talk away, my friend.
Should I sit out the voting part? If it was
I mean, look. What I would say is, obviously, you came from 4th last season, but both drivers have moved on. So it's a new team essentially for you, drivers wise.
Yeah, sort of. We sort of had to start from zero, and I think it's fair. Magnus, in his case, he wanted to go to Fox, and I thought, fair enough. James is a great guy, and I wasn't going to hold someone back just because I'm a Grouchy team owner and I want a decent driver in for another season. And then I think Joe had sort of just decided he wanted to do other things, which is also absolutely fair. So we asked a lot of people, and I think Layla and Eric were the two most keen. What Layla was pretty interested in. From quite early on, actually, and we sort of were going to have Layla in a reserve role. A couple of things fell through, and we thought, actually, let's make you the lead driver. And she's responded incredibly well to that. And I think she was the one who suggested Eric. And it's interesting because in terms of personalities, we all share a lot of quite similar traits in that we're all a little bit neurodivergent, I think it's fair to say, without wanting to out anyone particularly. But yeah, we've all been fairly open about that. And it means sometimes we misunderstand each other slightly. We need to sort of clarify things, but it's not, from a personal point of view, I don't know how maybe this might be revealing of my attitude to some extent, is that, talking to them reminds me a lot of how I was when I was that age a little bit, and sort of you think I'm bad now. I mean, back to when I was like 17, 18, a bit of a mess. But yeah, they're doing a lot better than I was at that age already. But I definitely feel like the atmosphere is still very, very good, and that's always what I tried to foster. I've always definitely tried to get new drivers into FS2 was always one of my things. I'm not quite to the extent of Menno in the academy team, but he's
prolific. You can't do anything near that.
True, he's got me beat by at least a couple of years, probably more than that.
See his Super League lineups; it's the same.
Yeah, but anyway, I think they were the two most keen ones. I think Layla's been very, very good. Has a lot of achievements in Assetto Corsa Competizione. She's won a couple of sort of local Italian sort of leagues there, and I think Eric has sort of also joined FS2 fairly recently, and I think they're two very, very evenly matched. Sometimes they occasionally sort of butt heads, and you need to sort of make sure they communicate effectively, essentially. But yeah, they're really, really lovely on a sort of personal level. And I think as drivers, they can definitely, if we get everything right, we can maybe nab a couple of points here and there. And I think it's about building both of them up as drivers rather than trying the team picking up from where it left up before, which I think is probably a bit much to expect from either of them right now. So we keep the goals realistic. And
so where would you put them?
Championship contenders. No, then lower midfield. I think I put them lower midfield.
Okay. Perfect. Menno?
Yeah, so let's start this now. I think this is really laying the foundations, I think, for the team in the future. You now went for you had a quite experienced lineup, and now you have a quite rookie lineup, at least in GPV. And I think that will show in FS2. I think with Eric and Leila, they are both very, very decent, but I think not at their peak performance yet. And I think if you compare that with some of the others, other teams and other drivers, they are way more on their peak performance. And I think the Hunter Birch drivers are not yet there. So I think it will be more working, and even more working. But yeah, I think also what I saw more from Eric than I saw from Leila. And from what I see from Eric is that he keeps putting in, like, he makes steps, and every time he drives, you see him making a step again, another step. So I think that's what's needed. And I put what did I put the team? I put them in the lower midfield as well, because I think its team will have a quite I think a slow start to the season. But from there, I think the build-up needs to be there. You just need to have that 1 or 2 rounds under your belt. Then you can tweak, hey, what doesn't go well, what does go well, and from there build up to improvements. And that can only be like position improvements, or an improvement in, let's say, how many seconds you finish behind the race winner, and get those things in, and then improve. And I think that's what the team should do. And I think you should not expect you should not expect what happened last year will happen now, but you can expect something like something will be happening. An improvement will be shown during the season.
Well, I'm glad to know I can count on your support, man, across the season.
I think at this point, at this point, I'd like to say, I mean, Ed touched on it briefly. It's important to note that GPV is, and has been, and will be, a safe space for neurodivergent people, and for people. We've got quite a strong trans community here as well, and I think it's very positive that that's the case. My daughter's autistic. My partner's got ADHD. The world can be a scary place sometimes, and it's important to have safe spaces. And I think it's important that GPV does have safe spaces. And so I'm very, very keen on that. Performance-wise, I don't know a great deal about either. So I'm happy to go with you guys as lower midfield.
I thought he was going to say they're going to struggle just to rub the boot in.
Remco's lobbed you straight into title contenders, championship contenders, but
at least somebody's on my side. You guys weren't, but yeah.
But I'm happy to go with lower midfield. And I actually don't think I'd make a single change to this list. I'm pretty happy with. I think we all mostly agreed. Occasional 2-to-1s. Mostly it was all three of us agreeing. So. I don't know if you guys particularly disagree with any of those. I could see some of the arguments either way anyway when it was myself.
It's a very crowded midfield though, isn't it? That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, but it has been in FS2 for years. You have the reverse grid, so it always evens the points out. Even if there's a team that's a little bit stronger, the reverse grid means the other team still gets many points anyway. It's good to have that system. Menno, are you happy with the tier list?
Yeah, I'm happy with the tier list. I'm just I think we ranked them well, and of course we had a little bit of arguments in certain teams, but mostly we agreed with what we all came up with. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's FS2 is always a bit of a revolving door for drivers as well for certain teams. So this will change as the season goes on. Obviously, a competitive driver might leave, move teams, swap around. But with the information we have, I think I'm pretty comfortable to say. I wish my webcam would stop moving. That this is what we're happy with. So let's move on to Formula Sprint 1 after this little video. So we're going to move on now to Formula Sprint 1 and the 2026 grid. And there's been quite a few changes across the ladder, but in Formula Sprint 1 as well. There's been some teams that have moved up, deservingly so, from Formula Sprint 2, and some teams that have come down as well, I believe. So we'll go through those in order. From first of all, we've got a brand new team who are coming into Formula Sprint 1. And the first team on our list is Hue Performance, the Vietnamese squad.
Who?
You can tell it's late at night. It's Alex Day and Alessandro Iannone. And I'll let Menno kick us off here.
Yeah, so the only new team in FS1. Which is of course very interesting because the rest is all returning teams, demoted teams, promoted teams from FS2, or teams that already were there. What should I say about the team? They got quite a rookie lineup in terms of have got Alex Day, who's of course he's quick, but unproven, I would still say, and they've got Alessandro Iannone, who was really well in a couple of races. Actually led, I believe, 18 out of the 21 laps in Singapore, where I actually was chasing him. It's a good starters lineup. Then again, it is the only new team, and they've got a mountain to climb. And they, I think initially, it would be unfair to place them really high because the lineup is kind of a rookie, and the team is rookie and really new. Of course, they did a lot of racing in other series, so they're not brand new to Simracing, but they are new to the league, and already in FS1 that's a mountain already. And I would say they need to conquer Mount Fuji in FS1. But I put them in. They're going to struggle, or they're going to struggle, actually, especially for the beginning of the season. And but this team can develop into a better team, I think, during the season. But I think all start will be difficult for them.
Okay, let's see what Ed thinks about that.
I'm sort of got a quite interesting view because I think actually it's a really, really strong 15-team lineup in Formula Sprint 1 this season. So I actually think, while I agree, I don't think Hue are going to fight for the championship first time out. I really think Iannone impressed me a lot last season in his appearances that he did do, including even Singapore race 2 where he spun off and let Menno have the win unintentionally, which I'm sure Menno doesn't mind one bit, but I'm sure he'll be very keen not to repeat that. Nope. And Iannone was pretty much on it in preseason testing. I agree. I think Alex Day, I think a little, not quite, I haven't seen him quite match the pace of Iannone yet, but I think there's certainly potential in there to score a lot of decent points. So I've actually put Hugh as in the midfield.
Okay, so we've got they're going to struggle in midfield for Hugh. Well, I'm going to split the diff. I think lower midfield for these guys is fair. I agree. Iannone had some potential last season, but he didn't actually get the results. It was reverse grid stuff as well, which obviously helps. So I've got them in. I think lower midfield makes sense anyway.
So we're both wrong. That's what you're saying.
All three of us might well be wrong.
Yeah.
But that's where I've put them for now. Next, we have CM Tech Racing and the Dutch squad led by Wopke Hoekstra has signed. Well, it's difficult to put a word here for this driver. Menno, excuse me, Menno. How do you think CM Tech will do? It's a new team, but returning team, right?
Returning team, and they had some really good success in, I believe, Super Lights, and I believe they were runner-up in 2019 or 2020. So they had a lot of good races and good results earlier. Now they're back with me and Wopke. And you ask me now to rank the team I'm driving for. It is very difficult. I would say we are midfield runner plus, maybe. That's how I would rate it.
So we need to make a new tier for you specifically, man.
Actually, maybe in between. I think we can do well, but the competition is also fierce. We will have our good moments, and we will have our rings lost. And I'm mainly on Wopke's car, not on mine, of course. I think, as a team, we are positive we can do well. We are aiming for, podiums. And of course, the odd win would be nice. That's what motivates us. But looking at the bigger picture of the whole team and the whole grid, I think it would be fair to put us in a midfield team. I think that's where we belong. I think for Wopke it is proving that he is still a very good sim racer. Of course, last year he did Super League, and he was not as fast as but in 2018-19 he did FS1 when it was called Super Cup, and he was really good back then. So and also in the preseason test he was good. So it is, the potential is very much there. It's just unsure what the other teams will bring. We know what we will bring.
Well, I had a really nice chat with Wopke and Jan Grangquist actually at GPVWC. He's a really lovely guy, very tall. But I say that about a lot of people. I'm only 5'9", so lovely chap. But I have to go off what I've seen in Super League, and I know Menno, you had a couple of wins last season as well, but again, it's not like your pace wasn't like front running. So I think I completely agree. I think midfield is exactly where I think you'll end up, and I think that's fair. Let's see what Ed thinks.
Well, I might have the craziest swing of all, so this will probably be the thing that gets me absolutely clowned on in the next 2 minutes.
Oh no!
I've put CM Tech as championship contenders.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
No. I might put Menno at the bottom, but yeah, they'll still be championship contenders. Well, I might be convinced to slot them back down to best of the rest if Menno annoys me in the next few minutes. Because what I think is Wopke, and I think it's been fairly pointed out because I was commentating on that Super League season last year where he was driving for Green Stripes and he was struggling a lot. It was clear he just did not get on with that Super League car, and so I think everybody is sort of rooting for him in a kind of underdog way, and he was really, really on it in preseason testing, which was a little bit, I don't want to say a surprise, but it felt a lot like the Wopke Hoekstra of old that was driving like 7-8 years ago and doing really, really strongly in FS1, because he had a couple of seasons with HGP where he was doing okay, but you could tell he was starting to sort of struggle a little bit, and he had a lot of things going on, and I think
Okay.
but I really think he just seems a little different the way he's driving around. Just seems I just sort of have a gut feeling that maybe he can really make something happen. And I think I put Menno up there because he's just really lucky. So it's been very quick, obviously.
So do you think okay, well now we have a decision to make because myself and Menno have said midfield and you've said championship contenders. I mean, do we move them into best of the rest and split the difference like I just did, or
oh wait, but I'm not saying anything.
or
Yeah,
or do
quite
we
you.
or do we go 2v1 and say midfield? I mean,
I think just for Menno trying to promote himself, we'll put him down to best of the rest. So sorry,
What do you think, Menno? Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, best of the rest. I don't agree, but
hey, it's better than he deserves, but it's what they get. It's what they will do.
I put myself. Yeah. I put the team in midfield runners, and I end up in best in the rest. Like that's how we want to see.
I'm going to compliment you and do it in the most insulting way possible.
We've got some more insulting to do next. We've got Excellion Motorsports and Roy Seifert's squad. They've come up from FS2, and for whatever reason, they've decided to sign Remco de Zeeuw. And Remco, bless him, has decided to do a season in FS1. So well done. I don't know anything about Cedric Bill. Honestly, it would be nice. We've got Remco in our ear. It would be nice if Remco could tell us about the squad a little bit. But I'll let Ed go ahead and fill us in.
Well, I know Cedric Bill quite well actually because he's a driver in Formula Sim Racing, a race winner in Formula Sim Racing Pro, been very successful in that category. He's been doing it for several years, so he's got a lot of R Factor 2 experience in single seaters as well. He's very good at saving tires, and he's very calm. And he's not the greatest qualifier, but he's a very good racer. And I think Remco is kind of similar in that sense, without wanting to diss Remco's qualifying too much. No, he's had some good showings here and there. I mean, it's been a while since the last time he raced in super lights, I believe, for his Fusion team, Remco. So yeah, I think there were sort of peaks and troughs. So I think Remco can probably have one or two. At least he's got one or two solid performances in him. Cedric, I'm excited about, but I'm not quite sure how he's going to adapt to the specific demands of FS1 because it is a little bit tricky and sort of it's not quite as long as some of those FSI races in particular because it's in the name Formula Sprint 1.
Yeah.
So I put Excellion as midfield, the same as Hugh Performance.
Menno.
Yeah, so the other team of blue and yellow, but this is then light blue. I think a bit like you, Toby. Of course, we know Remco. We can more or less have an opinion on where we think Remco will be, and I think he can do very well in this FS1 field. But Cedric Bill, I don't know him that much, so it is.
Then you should get to know him.
Yeah. I think I will get to know him in Australia, where he qualifies.
Wonderful Frenchman.
Yeah, where he qualifies 3 places ahead of me, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, Cedric Bill. Yeah, now I know you. Now, it made me. It's difficult for me to rank the team. Of course, it's a team that's moving up with a whole new lineup, very different than what I had last year. I think the pace was, quite good for what we saw at
Preseason testing. Yeah.
Preseason testing, also in the online servers. I think I put them at the moment at the lower midfield, but I think that was mainly based on me not knowing Cedric Bill. This is maybe something which after a couple of rounds I can actually say, oh yeah, I got this way wrong. Cedric Bill is the French god. I never knew that existed. So yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. So difficult to judge. I put them maybe a bit lower for that reason. But yeah.
I mean, look, I've just DM'd Remco and he's just said I would put us in midfield, mostly thanks to Cedric. So I'm happy to go with that as well, based on Ed's info from FSR. So yeah, absolutely. Let's stick them in midfield and see what Cedric can do. We all know what Remco can do. So let's see where they end up. He just said I can crash. Next, we have Cap Clay, Scuderia Cap Clay, coming up from FS2. They've kept their lineup, Junio Lopez and Mikhail Tuamala. And I'll go first on this one, I think, if you guys don't mind. These guys are very competitive FS2 drivers. Junio Lopez, if he'd have had more luck and a bit more consistency in race twos, would have fought for the title all the way through the season. I rate both of them. I think they're both very good, and I think they will make the step up fairly competently. So for me, these guys are best of the rest. So that's where I've got them. I think if they really try hard they could fight for the championship potentially. The field is strong. It's not as strong as it has been, but there's a clear best squad, in my opinion. But there's potential for these guys to fight for the championship, but I wouldn't necessarily put them there right now. I'll put them in best of the rest. Let's see what Ed has to say based on that.
I remember these guys from last season because they were beating us quite consistently.
Yeah.
But of course, Junio Lopez, I remember a couple of years ago, he had a very tough start to FS2 and he came back very, very strong, particularly last season where he was a very clear runner-up to Sandeep Singh in the Drivers' Championship. So Junio, I think, was very impressive, and I think he can impress in FS1. I think he's very much expected to. And Mikhail Tuamala, obviously the team owner, very, very consistent, sort of always there or thereabouts. And I think himself more than good enough to be a very consistent point scorer in FS1. So I was sort of on the bubble between midfield and best of the rest. But I think I sort of lean more towards Toby's way of thinking. And I think I'll put them best of the rest. Not just because former FS2 solidarity, but I think because they're genuinely good enough to take that spot, essentially.
I know.
I kind of agree. I think Cap Clay is just a very good team that is moving up. I think what Junio last year did really well in FS2, and now does the step up to FS1. I think he will be the one of the drivers to watch. I think his speed is incredible. But then again, this is a step up. The drivers will be stronger here. And I think Junio needs to adapt from what I've seen. But I think if he does that, then he will just be very, very well. And I think his one lap pace is never in doubt. I think he's somebody who has got that gift of being really quick over one lap. It's just, he needs to just do very well to achieve the maximum. And then, Mikhail Tuamala is also a driver which is in GPV for I think longer. I think since 2013, where I then already raced him in FS1. He's just a known driver. You always known that he will have his moments during this season. Maybe not in Australia already, but he will choose his moments. He will have, I think, a couple of reverse grids, maybe reverse grid poles. Of course, the number is between 6 and 10. He needs to pick his moments, especially in this stronger field. But I think they can do really well. I put them in best of the rest myself.
Excellent. Fine. Well, then we are in agreement, which is nice compared to the first couple of picks.
I went a little crazy, didn't I?
No. Look, these are all valid opinions. Ultimately, it's so difficult to predict right at the start of the season. Like everything can change after a couple of rounds. Next, we have Potentia. Now, this is an interesting one for me. Menno, kick us off.
Well, Potentia, the team of George Dexter and the champions of FS2 last year. What is not to like? And then they've got Jack Mayer and Omari Watson. I mean, they don't need to have an introduction in GPV, even not in FS1. The one is a championship winner in 2023, and the other one is a multiple race winner in Formula Sprint 1. And it's they are not the hunter, but they are the prey. They are, I think, in my opinion, the favorite of the teams, because both drivers are incredibly good if they get it on the track. And of course, I think most people will say, okay, Jack Mayer might be driver one because he won the championship before. But yeah, Omari Watson is also very gifted and very talented, and above all, very hardworking.
Yeah.
And I think what we can actually see is Omari actually be on an amazing pace and yeah, motivates Jack. Hey, you have been champion before, but I've developed as well. And yeah, if you then have Omari Watson as a second driver at your team, and he's already capable of what he showed before, which combined it with Jack, then they are force of nature in this series, and I would put them really high. I put them in championship contenders myself, just because the whole package is there. The brand of the team
absolutely.
is good, and the drivers are for FS1 world class.
Yeah, I agree. Ed?
Yeah,
This would be fairly similar.
yeah, I think Jack Mayer is obviously quite easily sort of SL2, maybe even Super League level kind of driver, if we're being completely honest, because he's won FS1 before with TAP a couple of seasons ago, back in 23, I think it was. So yeah, he's been there and done it before. I do wonder if maybe there might be a sense of Jack kind of, if it gets too easy for him, sort of losing interest. But I think knowing FS1 with how mixed up it can get, he's unlikely to get too bored. And maybe he's missed it in a way. I wonder if that's the case and why he's come back.
Yeah,
With Omari, Omari is a fascinating driver, lovely guy as well, as is Jack Mayer actually, for that matter. But Omari, he's capable of so much brilliance, really good at sort of tire saving. If you remember back to the 2024 season, when I was commentating with Owen, they very, very nearly beat Multiforce to the team's championship. It was just one or two little things, a bit of bad luck that went against them. And a couple of times, Omari, like I think a couple of races like Baku that season in race 2, where he was leading and then spun out from the lead on the final lap with very worn rear tires. That was so frustrating for him. And then a couple other things like I think he did the Lewis Hamilton mistake in the pit lane at Shanghai as well. But there were brilliant, performances and wins. I think the 1-2 they took in Hockenheim that season as well. And of course, 2025, it was a bit of a low key season for him. Only a couple of, I think, sub drives here and there. He might not have done much driving at all from memory, but it's really good to see him back. First of all, I think what Menno said is absolutely right. I think Omari is just as capable of Jack as delivering race-winning performances. So easily, you got to put Potentia Grand Prix as one of the favourites for the championship, along, of course, with CM Tech Racing, as I said earlier.
Well, I have very little to add, to be honest with you. These guys have both proven themselves over many years. I always have a nice time with Omari. He's a lovely chap, and yeah, he always asks about my daughter and so on at whenever I see him at GPP Day. Lovely guy, and yeah, it's Jack Mayer as well, a former, as you say, former champion, and easily the pair of them could easily be super lights level. I know Omari has perhaps less spare time than he would like for sim racing, but yeah, they're absolutely up there with the favourites. I actually think there's one squad that is possibly stronger, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, they could easily win the title, and back-to-back FS2 and FS1 titles would be on the cards for them. So yeah. Now we've got a couple of teams that have come down from SL2. First of all, Gallery 82, Damien Kardash and Michal Galka driving there. I go first this time. I think these guys are. I know Niels for many years. He's been around GPV a long time, and is always keen to contribute. And these guys have been up and down the leagues a little bit. I think FS1 has been their home. They tried SL2 last season. It didn't work out for them. I think it would be tricky to put these guys anywhere. You could justify them being anywhere depending on their effort level. But in my head, they're best of the rest / midfield. I want to see what you guys say, but I would probably just put them in midfield, at the top end of that. But let's see what you guys think. Start with Ed.
Oh, I'm interested that you say that, Toby, because especially since you said they were trying a SL2, because ever since I've been commentating, they've always been an SL2 team for like a couple of years now. So, and I remember they were quite strong when I started commentating in SL2. They were occasionally capable of these really, really solid results. I think they had Alexander Ragozza driving at the time. And I think they've sort of slowly slipped down over the time I've been commentating at GPV, to the point they've now been put into FS1 instead. So I would like to think they can fight back and sort of come back to be best of the rest, as you say. But I don't know. I think Cardes and Galka, their SL2 results, they're just a little bit pouchy here and there. The pace wasn't too far up, but there were just a couple of mistakes here and there. I sort of feel like the Gallery 82 are looking at lower midfield for me, sadly, and I really hope I'm wrong on that, but it just doesn't feel like a team that quite has all the pieces together. But I think they could very well prove me wrong on that.
Just quickly before we go to Menno, I just want to say that when I was doing THR in 2021, they were often competing for race wins with Damien Kardash and Michael Galka as their two drivers. And obviously it's 2021 versus 2026. Times change. But they finished fourth in that season and then fifth in 2022 in FS1, essentially the same guys. So I actually drove for them in 2022.
I'm hoping in saying that this will spur them on. But
yeah, I couldn't see them being much outside fifth, sixth, or something like that, and that's why I got them the upper part of midfield. But we'll see what Menno thinks, and then we'll make a judgment call.
Yeah, well, I put them in midfield myself. I think this will be a team that actually is going to benefit. They went down. Mikael Galka, I think, he will connect way better with this type of car than with the Super Lights car. And for Damien Cardas the same. I think Cardas now is back after a couple of years. Of course, he, I believe, co-led the team, Gallery 82. And of course, Rogosa is now at another team here in FS1. So, Damien Cardas is back. I believe he did one qualifying last year, and I believe in Spain, where I think he qualified 7th or 8th. So he also was quite quick overall, but then I believe he had PC issues. I just in general, I think this is a team that will connect good with the car. They will not be championship winners, but I will say they will score. The team will score multiple podiums this year. And, that's something I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure with Galka, sorry, but with Damien, I think he will be up there from time to time. How good that will be is difficult to say, but I'm not sure how much time and effort he will put in. But if he enjoys it again, he can actually win a race too. He's got the talent. But for now, I put the team in midfield.
Well, I think we've both. It's 2-1 then for midfield for Gallery 82.
I mean, I hope you guys are right. So.
I mean, I can only go off what I know of them in FS1 with the same sort of lineup. I think they do better with the shorter races for sure.
To be fair, I'm sort of saying the opposite approach of what I'm saying about Vopke Hoekstra. So.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm the hypocrite here.
Let's see. They're a solid. They've been around for a long time now in GPVWC, and I've got a lot of time for those guys. So hopefully they can bounce back after a pretty miserable SL2 season. To be honest with you, it wasn't great fun. I don't think that they had, particularly from the management side and so on, for the 2 or 3 seasons they did. So, right, let's move on up to the next squad. So we've got Alpha Sierra Simracing. This is the second of the 2 teams that came down. Tom van der Voort's squad, and they've signed Chris Butcher, who I know well. Was his best man at his wedding. and Dominic Horashevin. So these two, Horashevin had some results early part of last season before the development really kicked in, where he was doing pretty decent top 10 results. So and Butch is a very fast driver, former FS2 champion, runner up in FS1. He's been doing iRacing of late, but I know he's a very capable driver. And yeah, I think if these guys give it a proper go, they could easily be midfield. But I'm happy to be talked out of it. Let's start with Edward.
Okay, it's nice. Alpha Sierra, one of the very few teams that uses the phonetic alphabet in their team name.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's another interest because they're never the SL2 teams that have been pushed down. But I feel like Kurashavin, obviously the Ukrainian driver, had some really good performances a couple of years ago. He was able to sort of consistently sort of sneak into the top 10 against some very tough fields, and yeah, I think he could really benefit, as you say, from being in FS1 where there's not so much of a development race, as in none at all. But Chris Butcher as well, sort of occasionally over the last couple of years, mainly doing sort of substitute drives. That he's a bit of a plug and play sort of option, always gets up to speed very quickly. I remember a couple of seasons ago, I think he drove for Kings Racing in FS1 in Austria and got on the podium as well. So I think they could be very a bit of a surprise package. So I've put them as best of the rest in that tier.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see that. Menno?
Yeah, well, I think this is a quite a difficult team to rank. Of course, the Butcher deal was kind of late, and yeah, if Chris fully delivers his potential, then it will just be very good, and they have a great signing in that. But I'm not sure indeed how much time and effort will there be put in. Of course, for the argument, I put it in like it will go really well. And then they've got Dominic Koroshavin, and that's actually somebody I actually know quite well because the last 2 seasons in, let's say, most of the races, I was his race engineer in Superlight, so I know kind of how he works, and yeah. But when he got the feeling with the car and everything connects, he can be really quick. But sometimes he also has got that problem that he's a bit of a magnet for trouble.
And there was also a guy in his ear giving him bad strategies.
Yeah. Full throttle here. Yeah, no. But yeah, but I think that's the thing. I know Dominic drives a lot of other things, and that's very nice. He streams a lot of things on his YouTube channel, which is good. But yeah,
Where would you put them though?
A new series. It will be very interesting for him. I put them for the argument that, of course, they will be well and they get their full potential out. I will put them around best of the rest or midfield. I put them, I think, in best of the rest.
Okay, well, I'm outvoted 2-1, so we'll get them moved into best of the rest. Slight glitch with our tier maker, guys. We've moved to a different website, but it's going in best of the rest. So there goes Alpha Sierra Simracing.
I do love our championship contenders as the P for Potentia outline.
Yeah.
Championship contenders. Right, we move on after it was literally between 10 and 15 seconds that took for sure. To Team Iris. Team Iris with Philip Koenig and Christian Malcharek. Now, where do I think they'll be? It's tricky, isn't it? I think probably midfield for these guys would be sensible, if not lower midfield. I know Philip Koenig has been around FS1 for a long time. He's never exactly set the world alight. Malcharek is less of a known driver for me. But yeah, for me, this is a lower midfield team in that kind of ballpark. Ed, what are your thoughts?
I think I might have a slightly unpopular hot take again on this one because I With Team Iris, I've known him a long time. Tane, of course, drove for the team last season. Lovely guy, for the most part, at least. No, he's brilliant. And Philip Koenig, I agree. I think he's always had a lot of potential. He's never quite reached. Had a couple of stronger performances, sort of in the middle of last season, where it felt like he was almost finally getting to grips with FS1. And then Christian Maltrek won FS1 a number of years ago and is coming back. I think it's 2013 that he won it. It's been a long time since he last drove. It was something ridiculous like that. But yeah, it's lovely to see him again, or in my case for the first time. But because I was probably younger than 15 or something when he last won the championship, so that's how long ago it was. But yeah, he seemed really on the pace more or less in preseason testing. I really think if this team gets all together, they could well be one of the best of the rest teams. But I'm probably going to be is outvoted and they end up being midfield. But but I'm going to go best of the rest because I love Team Iris and I can't not back them because I've commented on them in so many different categories. And as I say, Tane, brilliant team manager.
Look, I don't want to say you're wrong, but when did you say Maltrek won FS1? I don't think Maltrek's won FS1. Is it?
It might not have been FS1, it might have been FS2. Somebody mentioned it in commentary.
I think they were wrong.
Okay.
No, it's like I'm not saying it's not your fault necessarily, but he's done a couple of seasons. He's done 2020. He drove 2 races in Super League and a full season in Super Lights and finished 32nd. And then did a few races in 2023, not scoring a point. So whether it was someone else, maybe they were talking about Gashella potentially, because Gashella's won.
It might have been Gaxella, yes. Okay, that makes more sense.
Which kind of changes where the team sits.
I might put the midfield then.
Yeah, Gashella. Look, I don't. Like, I'm not. This is hard. There's a lot of drivers to remember, but
it's
yeah,
late.
Early.
It's quite early now. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Ed. But Menno, thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I put them quite in the lower midfield, or even they're going to struggle. I have full confidence in Philip Koenig. He can drive a good race, and I will now tell you there will be one race this season where Philip Koenig is P5, P4, or even P3. He always has got that one race every season where he gets through it. And yeah, he's also a good mate too. So no, I think he really enjoys sim racing. Is he the fastest? Will he be always in the top 10? No, but he will do good from time to time, and he enjoys racing. With Matsarek, yeah, it's more of an unknown. I think from GPV he doesn't have a lot of amazing results, and also his current pace from what it was shown previously in the FS1 car was not, let's say, front running. But then again, we can only judge when Australia has done. If it's really like where everybody stands. But I would now say Team Iris is more on the lower side of the list. So I will put them in the lower part, the lower midfields. I think that's where I would put them. Yeah, I think that would be fair.
Yeah, and that's where I have them as well. I will just add that Philip Koenig is now his team RTD is now Fraser Tartan FTR. We agreed to sort of merge the teams in 2022 for Nocturne, and now it's obviously FTR. So big shout out to Philip for allowing us to do that. But yeah, Ed, do you have any disagreements with that based on that info?
No, I think I was sort of leaning towards midfield anyway, so I think it's probably fair. I think Philip will probably get 1 or 2 results, and maybe Christian will surprise us in 1 or 2 races. But I think maybe they're probably more likely going to be maybe at the bottom end of the point scorers rather than the middle, as I predicted wrongly.
No, look, honestly, it's hard. There's so many drivers to remember, but we'll get to Gashella shortly. We've got Bodil Racing Team. Lorenzo Aterovic Funcic's squad, which was LEF last season. Now, they have signed Alexander Gonzalez Green and James Jubia or Juba.
Juba.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad. Juba. James and Alex. I mean, we've seen Alex before. James, I'm not so sure if we've seen. I'm just going to have a quick look at James's general results, I think.
You saw him before.
It's been a while, but he has driven
Super
in
lights, I
before.
believe. I believe
Okay.
for March 1, like 5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably just around the time that I was coming back into GPV. I don't know a great deal about Juba's results. I'm going to struggle with this name. I'm glad I'm not commentating on it. glad it's you, Ed. Let's have a quick look before I make my decision. So James currently ranks 264th on the older website. Yeah, he's had top 10s in Superlights and stuff, but as you say, 5-6 years ago. Therefore, I would say this team is a lower midfield squad. That's my opinion. But I'm happy to hear different, Menno.
Yeah, I will put them quite a bit higher. I think the team, what they now bring with the current team is one, not one, but 2 steps more than what they had last year. I think with Gonzalez Green, it's more like, okay, now he gets his first full year. I believe he jumped into the seat. I believe not the whole season last year, if I remember it correctly, or at least he missed a couple of races. And
I think he did most of the season. But
yeah. Apart from a few, but I do feel having raced against him last year is that you feel there is more in. Is somebody that's developing himself in the series, and he got a vote of confidence by the team. So I think that's good. But then James Suba, I think he will be the team leader, and
Okay.
I kind of expect a bit from him. I think a while ago, I think that is actually when the mods came out. I tested a bit with him, and he was quicker than me at that. Was one session, and yeah, he made a very good impression. And then yeah, you just see how people work and how easy the speed comes, and that was more than all right from James. So I think James is maybe an unknown for a lot, but like somebody like Kardash, they can be there. This is a guy that can deliver. He has got the potential.
So
So
midfield, do you think?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, midfield for sure, and midfield plus, like they can surprise us at times.
Okay. Well, it's on Ed then.
I'm kind of in agreement with Menno here because obviously they were LAF last season, the Boulder Racing Team, or BRT as we might call them for short, if with Lorenzo's permission. But yeah, Gonzalez Green, I think had a pretty decent rookie season. Obviously, as Menno said, he'd only done like one FS2 event in Kota before then, so he was sort of put in a little bit at the deep end, and I think he acquitted himself pretty solidly. Obviously, still a lot to build on there for the young American driver. And then James Juba is a man I know pretty well because he drove for my team in a Formula E league on R Factor 2, won several races. He's very, very good in endurance racing. I remember him, one of the very first commentaries I did, he set an amazing pole lap at Le Mans in a BMW GT3. So that's always a moment that I'll remember well. And James, I think he's a very, very good pick for team leader. I think the only danger is sometimes James can get a bit frustrated when things aren't going his way, as many of us do. But he does seem very, very committed to the Bodil team. So hopefully he will allow Alexander to score in the points a bit more consistently. And I think James himself should be a consistent finisher in the top 10 if things go well. So I would say I'm almost tempted, if there was a more experienced driver than Alex alongside James, I might say best of the rest. But I think as is, I would say upper end of the sort of midfield.
Okay, so midfield it is. Thank you, Remco. The next squad we're going to look at is MS Performance, who are run by Harry Smith, and they've got Wesley Stefano and Raymond van Surst, and the All Dutch squad led by a Brit, competing in purple and light green, like almost like a sickly color. Should look quite nice. I will let Ed start on this one. Where do you put these guys? It's quite a tough one, this one, I think.
Bit of an oxymoron. It's almost like you don't like the MS Performance livery. It's
awful.
Oh, it's sickly. It should be lovely. I don't know. Well, MS is an interesting one because they were sort of I don't want to say sister team to Netrex, but obviously some of the same people involved, like Harry Smith, and they had Victor Ivanov, who was a very, very good driver in the 2024 season, was fighting with I believe it was Mike Quint, who eventually beat him to that championship for Moldforce. So yeah, they had a very good start to life in FS1, at least with their lead driver. And then they've sort of last season they had Wesley and Raymond in for most of the year, and that they didn't quite reach the same heights. There were a couple of good qualifying performances. They showed little flashes of potential. I don't think they were ever really quite matched what Victor Ivanov was able to do. And of course, Raymond in particular has had a lot of his achievements in other sims. Effectively, and Wesley, I think, used to compete in a couple of Factor 2 leagues a while ago and was sort of returning after a little bit of an absence, if memory serves. So they both proved that they can do it. It's just a case of putting it all together in FS1. I think they'll have a better season than 25. But whether they can get either driver on the podium, I'm not entirely sure. So I think I would go probably for putting them in the midfield.
Okay. Menno, what do you think?
I agree on that. I think the high finishes of a couple of years ago, I think they're currently not in. But then again, this team has got two capable drivers, and I know actually Wesley for a long time. I drove actually already with him before GPV. Well, Wesley came back last year to GPV after he drove there before. On his day, he can be really good. But not all day. Not every day is his day, and that's I think a bit of the issues with Wesley. But yeah, I think he can now. He understands FS1. He can make a bit of a step in performance, and then Raymond is a bit more unknown. I think. I had a chat with Raymond on text a couple of days ago. He said to me, "I'd rather stay the underdog," and I think he preferred it that way. And I think from time to time, this is also a driver that can, like as a sneaky assassin, he can get there. Nobody notices him. He starts maybe quite low, and then after 3/4 of the main race of the evening, he jumps in the top 10, and you think, where did he came from? And he got it in him. So yeah, not the highest finishing team, but I would say he will be in that midfield group for me.
Okay, these guys finished 10th in the season last season out of 15. And a lot of their points came from Oscar Soltero finishing 4th and 2nd. On his one-off round. So these guys could have finished even lower. So for that reason, I had them lower midfield. It's the same lineup they did the whole season, never troubled the podium. I don't think they even had a top 5, those two drivers. So that's where I've got them. I also think the grid's a little bit better. I think the teams that have come up from FS2 are better. So I really do believe they should be lower midfield this season. But you guys have both got the midfield, so happy to be overruled and plop them into the center of our lovely second tier list.
Believe it or not, Toby, drivers do get better.
They do, yes. Look, 100%. 100%. They also get worse.
But your point is valid. It's they need to work for it. But then they can bring it.
Look, I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but that is my opinion. I think they were boosted by those Soltero results, and they could easily finish 11th or 12th. But there we go. Happy to put them in the center of the pack. We'll see how they get on.
That's only the 6th most controversial thing that's been said so far in this FS1 prediction.
Well, we've got a nice one coming up. We've got 01 Esports, David Wasserman's squad with Pablo Serrano and Alexander Ragosa in there. Ragosa, as we discussed, has been with Gary 82 for a long time, since 2020-ish. Now trying his luck at 01. I'd be interested to see if they actually work together off track for setup work and so forth. Ragosa is a very strong FS1 driver, in my opinion. Serrano is, let me just have a quick look, but I don't think he's done any races at all in GPV. I can't see him in the list. So a new one to me. Ed, do you know anything about Pablo?
Only what I saw in preseason testing, where he didn't set the world alight, but he did set the car alight a couple of times at a spin at the final corner. So definitely a little bit to learn, I think it's fair to say. But yeah, he seems affable enough.
Yeah, that's what I've got for Pablo. Menno, have we got any further info on Pablo?
Well, not much. He is, from what I know, new to the league, and I believe quite new to the simulator. So, not sure what to expect. I believe this is one of the prodigies of Carlos Martin. I'm actually not sure about it, but somebody told me. So, let's go with that. Myself, I didn't put the team high in the rankings. It's just I put them in the lower midfield, and with Ragosa, you can go every way. He can win a race, but it can also be just
chaos.
A bit of chaos. And with the other driver, with Pablo, is just we don't know anything about him. We don't know how he will be with fighting. I mean, everybody can drive a test car quite well, maybe 1 second of the pace, but it's also how do you engage in battles, and we don't have any info about that. So the team takes a risky option, and that makes them, I think, really hard to rank. So I would put them on the lower midfield myself.
I think that's exactly where I put them. I think Ragosa could do well, but it's been a while since that squad's been in FS1. Let's see what happens. Well, it's been a while since Gary 82 have been there. Ed, where do you think they'll be?
Yeah, I really like David Wasserman as a team owner. I think he's brilliant to have. I think 01. It's good to see them coming back for another season. But of course, 2 new drivers, Ragosa, who, as you say, I think he's very, very quick. Even the mistakes that he has made in the past, he's been very good at recovering from them. I remember a season opener in Melbourne in SL2 a couple of seasons ago. It rained horribly. He crashed near the start and then still got into the top 5 by the end. So that was an incredible performance. But yeah, that sort of sums him up in my mind a little bit. That he's if only he could keep things a little bit cleaner, he could be even better. And then Pablo Serrano, I think it's a sort of big question mark, remains to be seen. So I sort of put them sort of midfield or lower midfield, really. I think I kind of agree with you guys.
Yeah, I think that's sensible, given the information we have. Again, some of these are unknowns and we might be horribly wrong. But this is what we have to go off. Only a few teams left. We've got 4 teams left. Overpower, Marco Felix squad. Has got Scott Flack and Massi Riboli. And Riboli is a competent driver for sure. He definitely can steal a win or 2 here and there. He is, he's been up and down the leagues, hasn't he? He's been in and out of certain divisions. Scott Flack, I don't believe he has been that effective of late. So it's a tough one because they're, Riboli was point scoring in 2025 for Pixlate. I don't know where to put them. I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll pop my answer in. Menno first.
Yeah, well, I think this is a really competent team. I rate Fleck quite highly. Quite highly. He won.
I went a bit Battlestar Galactica there.
Yeah. I believe he won 1 race. Was it Hungary race 2 last year?
I believe so. He definitely won 1.
Yeah, and he's just he's
Did he win
somebody
at Canada as well?
He nearly won at Canada. I think he got his first
Okay.
podium at Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's somebody that's really nice to battle with. So I think a very competent driver from the other side of the world. Yeah, I rate him quite high. He will not win championships. Will he win multiple races? Not sure. But the odd win, I think he can do that. And he's just, I think, a very hardworking driver. And he's now partnered with Riboli, and he's also from time to time a very capable driver, and he knows exactly where to place his car at times. So overall, I would say it is a good team. Let's see where I put them. I put them in that big midfield group, but this is also a team that's they can go better quite easily if they just get all the ingredients right out on track.
Yeah, I think Scott's results have been up and down, but he's done plenty of seasons. Well, sorry, he's done a couple of seasons now, hasn't he?
This is his second full season, I believe.
Yeah. So he's done a couple. It seems like he's been around longer because I obviously spoken to Scott through DMs and stuff. But yeah, I guess so. Riboli was very competitive in FS2. I think if I was to put them somewhere comfortably, I'd put them in midfield. But I do think they could edge best of the rest in that sort of group, perhaps just behind or level with ASS. Ed, what do you think?
I sort of think they're best of the rest quite solidly, in my opinion, because Scott Flack is someone I've always really, really rated. I think he's one of these people who always wanted to do GPV for a long time. He was doing FSR for a while and getting some solid results. I think Scott Flack, the thing I always used to say about him, and maybe it's because he's getting up at silly o'clock, but he always came across as incredibly pessimistic about his chances and very down to earth, very laconic. So I like the way he goes racing. I think he's very, very good at keeping the tires alive for a long time. One issue that sometimes happens is, I think this happened at Canada, where he forgot to map I think a button for the pit lane or something like that. So in the first race, he got disqualified because he literally couldn't change tires.
I think tire change, yes.
Somehow he got the same set of softs to do the entire race distance, which in FS1 is still quite an achievement in race ones. But yeah, I think he's starting to really show some of that qualifying speed that I've always known him for as well. We saw a few hints of it in preseason testing, where he was on top for quite a lot of it until I think Gangzella pipped him near the end. But yeah, I really think Scott could go up a gear and maybe nab a few more wins this season if he replicates his performances last season. Riboli, don't want to say a journeyman driver because that feels a little patronizing. But as Toby said, he's been between a couple of tiers. He's sort of very, very good near the top of FS2 and then sort of goes into FS1 and then has a couple of patchy results. But I remember a couple of drives last season where he would be filling in, like I think Suzuka. Like it might have been last season or the one before, where he started the very, very back and then would sneak into the points repeatedly. And that happened a couple of times. So I think he's a very good recovery driver and pretty decent at staying out of trouble with his experience. So I think he's almost an ideal second tier driver, which Overpower didn't really have a solid candidate for most of last season. There was a little bit of chopping and changing, I think, because originally it was supposed to be Thomas Smith in the other car, and I think Smith had other things going on. Very good driver in his own right. But nonetheless, I think Overpower, for me, I think they do. Scott Flack's performances alone, I think, are good enough to nab him just into best of the rest, and I think Riboli backs him up well.
Okay, let's pop them in best of the rest then. Sorry, Menno. Yeah, unlucky.
He didn't seem particularly keen to, dissuade them. He says like, "Oh, they're just about me, Phil." I think is what Menno said.
Yeah, it's getting long in the night. Emerald Hummingbird is next. You would know them better as Nexium PLT from last season, I believe. This is Patrick Rojak and Mateusz Grzowski. And these two are led by Rojak. They did quite well as Nexium last season. It's very similar driver lineup. In fact, identical. They did miss a couple of rounds, and then came back and still finished P6 in the championship. Based on all of that, I've got these guys in the sort of best of the rest tier, and I think I'm comfortable with that. But I'm going to start with Ed and see what Ed thinks.
Yeah, pole team was an interesting case when we had like several Polish teams, and now of course two of them, a couple of them had kind of all Polish lineups, I guess, and a couple of them moved on, and we got Gal 82 join them as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Emerald Hummingbird, who I'm almost certainly going to get mixed up with Emerald Overdrive at some point, the FS2 team, even though they're completely different people involved. But yeah, Rozak is one of those drivers that is able to sort of sneak a podium on a very, very good day. And he was a lot more consistent last season. He really went up a gear. I think Gazowski came across as quite unlucky last season. Definitely the all good performances here, but I don't think he ever quite got the results that some of his performances really deserved. He would always get tangled up in some incident or other. So I would probably, I sort of lean towards sort of best of the rest, maybe sort of the upper end of midfield, but I think let's be generous and put him best of the rest.
Yeah. Menno?
Yeah, I agree in that. Two capable drivers again, who can shine from time to time. I believe both drivers never won an FS1 race, and I believe at least with Rozak, I think this year will be his year.
Yeah.
It's like what we always say with Ferrari: this year will be your year, and I think this year will be Rozak's year. I think he had so much podiums already. Maybe somebody can look in that up. I think so many podiums, but I believe never a win in FS1. And I believe this year will be the year he gets most likely a race 2 victory. For Guzovsky, I don't think that's maybe on the horizon, but don't get me wrong, Guzovsky will be still very good, and he is also podium capable, but a win, yeah, then something extraordinary needs to happen.
Yeah.
But they are like a lot of other teams. They are two really solid picks, and they are quite well in their development. They don't need to, they don't need to learn. They already know what to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I put them myself in midfield, but the argument best of the rest in that tier, I could agree to place them in. It's a bit of, what do they bring right away from the start? What can they right away stand there, or will they just start off a bit slower and get on speed later?
Let's see. I mean, it's a consistent lineup, and we know they were 5th or 6th last season in the constructors. So, as the Hummingbird, Paul Remco has to sit and listen to us waffle for a couple of hours. But best of the rest, please. I think we're all relatively agreed on that. Right. Now, couple of teams left. We have, drum roll, HGP Motorsports, Frank Hamming squad. Now, Frank Hamming is joined by Emmanuel Gachella, and Gachella is someone I know from a long time ago, raced against him in a variety of touring car series, and he's obviously been a very successful sim racer a decade ago. I'm told he's coming back and will be giving it his full beans. Is that a phrase? So hopefully he does. These guys are my favourites for the title, so I've got them as title contenders. And on the basis that Gachella is the Gachella that I think he can be. Frank Hamming regularly in the top 3 or 4 in FS1. Is where he lives. And he's had a couple of thirds over the years as well. So yeah, I think Frank Hamming is a very talented, solid Dutch driver, and I think Gachella will complement him nicely, and I can see them taking the title this season. But interested to hear what you think, Menno, on this one.
Yeah, well, this is a hell of a lineup, if I can use that those words. Yeah, this is a great lineup. I think I put them up there with Potentia, because like Potentia, they got 2 star class drivers. like I said before, Frank Hemming should be the team leader at HTP. But if you then got Emmanuel as your second driver, if that's your the amount of quality you have in your team, that of course Emmanuel will start up as the second driver because he has been out there. But he can, like Omari can with Potentia, Emmanuel might be able to turn it around. And Frank is just very good in always scoring. So I think there is a lot of smartness in the team as well. They know what to do. They know exactly what to do to get the best result out. And if the best result is P8, they will go for that. So they will not go DNFing a lot. That's at least what I think. And I would say I put them in the championship contenders tier. Because I think, like you as well, Toby, I just see them. They will do very well, and the Emmanuel then being fastest at the preseason test, I think that was a bit of an indication. And I talked a bit with Emmanuel, a bit more because I know him also from earlier. I drove for his team Storm in Super League in 2018, so I know him quite well. And he's very motivated to return, and he's hungry. Yeah, so he will be top team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Ed, it's quite an easy one, this one, isn't it?
I think I'm mainly in agreement, but there's a couple of caveats. I definitely think they're championship contenders, but it's interesting comparing with Potentia because they almost feel like kind of mirror images of one another in some ways, because you've got Emmanuel Gaxella, who's been there, done it before, and coming back after a bit of an absence, sort of similar to Jack Mayer, of course, has won FS1 before. And then you have Frank Hemming and Omari Watson. And Frank is an interesting one because I think he's a brilliant race driver, some amazing performances and wins across FS1 over the seasons. But I always feel like the one thing that's been his Achilles heel has been his qualifying, and he's improved it in the last couple of seasons quite a lot. He's a little bit more consistently able to just sneak into the top 10. Oops, sorry. Whereas a couple of seasons ago, I remember he would qualify a lot further back, and then the recoveries would be a bit more notable when he did them. He'd give himself a lot more work to do, essentially. And he'd usually do it, but it would be harder. So I think if he can qualify even just consistently top 6, top 5, which is easier said than done, then I think Frank Hemming could easily be one of our championship contenders. And I think Gaxella, as Menno and yourself pointed out, incredibly quick from preseason testing. He's clearly lost none of that speed. So it's just a case of how he's going to fare in the sort of rough and tumble of FS1 in terms of the first lap stuff that can sometimes go on. Hopefully it's fairly clean this season. I think these drivers are a pretty sensible lot, and especially the ones that have been there a bit longer than others. So I really think they'll be title contenders, but I'm not sure they're quite going to have the edge over Potentia. I think it's a case of close, but not quite a cigar for HGP this season. But hopefully one or both of them proves me wrong.
I mean, look, it's a toss-up, isn't it? I do think HGP are slightly ahead of Potentia, so I'm happy. Let's have a look at this when we talk again in the spring break, because it would be interesting to see how well we've done on the production so far. Final team is KKR, Matthew McKinnon's squad. Menno, that's Potentia. KKR. There we go. Yeah. Menno, talk us through this squad. You know them well.
Yeah, I know them well. I drove for them last year. Very interesting team with, I would say, a very interesting lineup. Lucas Silent is there again. He got 2 wins last year, 2 race 2s, and overall he's quite fast. Really fast. I believe 5th in the championship. So he's a very good driver to have in the team, and he will make them go on more and more podiums. And I'm sure he will win a race or 2. I think that's definitely in there. Then you've got Oliver Hargitay, and for me he's a bit new, so he's replacing me at KKR, and I know that the team was searching for a long time to get a decent driver in, and a driver they see talent in. And yeah, from what I've seen now is that I think the talent is there. I think he can surprise us all in FS1, but it's just fine tuning from what I've saw and from what I've heard. It's just fine tuning what is needed, and I believe Oliver is also a driver, maybe a bit more than Lucas, that will excel on the one lap pace, and then maybe needs to work a bit more on the tire saving side. But overall, I would put them in, not in the championship contenders. I know they would want to, but I think I would put them in that best of the rest group myself.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely valid, Ed. Any thoughts on that?
Well, Lucas Violin is the super Swede, in my opinion. Brilliant, several brilliant race 2 performances. As Toby's cat, I think, is back. But yeah, Violin, I've been very impressed in his first couple of seasons in FS1, and I think the third season should be even better. I think you can almost guarantee that Lucas Violin, if there's any opportunity left on the table for a race win in like race 2 somewhere, he will probably nab it. Oliver Argatai, I actually rate quite highly because he used to be one of my drivers, which I've said at least 3 or 4 times now in this. Yeah, Oliver, I always remembered that he would always be sort of there or thereabouts and sort of very reliable, very consistent. And then out of nowhere, suddenly he would pump in an amazing performance or amazing qualifying lap that would blow everyone away sometimes. So yeah, the Hungarian, he has that little bit of extra in him. I think it's a bit too much to say they'd be championship contenders because I'm not sure Phelan is quite there, and I don't think Oliver's quite there to back him up yet. But I think they're definitely in contention with best of the rest. So that's where I would put them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's exactly where I put them, and I think you've made all the points you need to make on KKR. I would say I think they were a little unlucky not to get promoted up to SL2. Obviously Hyperion with the other squad to go up, and KKR finished 4th. Hyperion finishing 12th. I think it's worth addressing that Hyperion only went up because it was essentially the Multiforce lineup that was definitely going to be that lineup in SL2. So, and Multiforce, the team, was withdrawing from the career ladder. So,
and it's KKR's 3rd season, isn't it, in FS1?
Yeah. But they finished 4th, and 3 teams got promoted, and essentially the Multiforce team got promoted. It's worth pointing that out. There's been some sort of thoughts about why did Hyperion move up? That's the reason. It's Micah and Andrzejewski driving for Hyperion in SL2. But anyway, KKR should be strong. Will they be strong enough to fight for the title? No, probably not. They might be 3rd or 4th again. So best of the rest. And that completes our Formula Sprint 1 lineup. We've got no one in there going to struggle. I think that's fair, Ed. I mean, you said it's a very strong 15-team grid. I really agree. I agree with you. There's obviously someone's going to finish last, but it's not possible necessarily to pick who that's going to be.
I think that shows the promotion system working well, that the bottom end FS1 has been lifted up a little bit, which is a slightly odd image to conjure at this late at night. But yeah, it's really good to see. I think, as you say, somebody's going to finish last, but there's no shame in that. The only thing I still sort of disagree, I think CM Tech are going to be in that group with Potentia and HTP, but I'm sure Menno will do his best to try and make that happen for me. And what do.
I've just realised that we've since changing to the tier list, Gary 82 are missing from the list. I think we had them in midfield, if I remember correctly. I think Ed wanted them in lower midfield.
I did to motivate them.
Yeah, I think this was a midfield team which had options to go higher, but not right away.
Sorry, Gallery 82, we forgot to put you in the list.
To be fair, we did, but then there was a glitch.
I was just counting the teams: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, we've got all 15 now.
At least we know this now and not after.
It is a bit fitting because Gallery 82 was quite late with delivery, so I had to.
They got it in.
Yeah, I believe they just sent it in the delivery for the supporters guide. So it's kind of fitting we forget them and add them later, like Chris did in the mod. So no, we just add them.
Okay, let's quickly just have for the final bit of this, and then we'll shoot. FS2 predictions for team and driver titles, please, Ed and Menno, and then we'll do the same for FS1, and then we'll wave goodbye. So, Ed, bonus points if you get this right. Who do you think will win the title, drivers and teams?
Well, I mean, I can tell you who I want to. That's a very short answer, but probably not realistic or fair, I think, to put that sort of expectation on my two. So, I think I got to go. I think I'm going to go with Cody Nikola Latkovsky for the driver's title. For the teams, I think it's probably going to be Orbit, almost certainly. I think with Casper Kuritz and Ben Skinner, I think that's just a slightly more consistent lineup. But yeah, I could see some of our sort of best of the rest surprising us in FS2.
Yeah, I think I agree. Those are my two picks for FS2 as well. So Cody Latkovsky for the drivers and Orbits for the teams. Happy to be proven wrong, but that's my initial thoughts. Mr. Klont.
Well, for the teams, it's Orbit for me as well. I think that is just the best lineup. I think they got everything, but I don't agree on the drivers. I think the champion will be Ben Skinner. I'm fairly sure he will do it. But yeah, I mean, let's see.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Menno, good. Do you want to go first for FS1 as well?
Oh, FS1 is very difficult. I think it would now be fair for the teams to give it to Potentia, also because they won FS2. I hear excelling in my ear. Yeah, Excel. Now, I think it will be Potentia. I think that's fair currently, but HP is very close. But Potentia, and I think for the drivers, yeah, you cannot bet against Jack Mayer. He has already won a championship. He's now chill, or he wants to get a second championship, and only one driver did that before. I think Kari Koski in 2005, 2006. So can Jack do this again? He's my favorite, at least, and let's see.
Ed, any difference of opinion there?
Well, my head says that Menno is right, and it should be Jack Mayer, but my heart says Wopke Hoekstra. So I'm going to go with the thing in the middle of my chest that keeps me alive, rather than the thing in my head that gives me bad information when I'm trying to do commentary. And as for teams, probably got to go with Potentia.
Okay, well, I'm going to go HGP for the teams. I think they'll edge Potentia, but I do think Jack Mayer probably has the legs, so I can't look past Jack Mayer. I rate Amari highly, but I do think Hamming and Kashela will just pip them. But we'll see. But it should be a good season in FS1. I think it's a very competitive grid.
Balls in your court now, Wopke. Don't let me down. Don't make me look even stupider than I already am.
I will make him perform now. Yeah.
Cheers,
number two driver right away from Australia.
Love that subservience.
Big thank you to Remco for putting up with us for the last few hours. Menno also put a webcam especially for this, so you get to see his pretty little face. Thank you very much for doing so. But this has been the first Formula Sprint 1, Formula Sprint 2 podcast. I'm very pleased to say I enjoyed myself with you guys, so thank you very much. We'll plan something in the spring and summer breaks as well. Keep you guys updated with how it's going. But yeah, any final thoughts, guys, before we say goodbye?
I cannot wait for the season to start. It's just that hype. I already get hype, I think, on the Tuesday when FS2 is starting. Then you think, season's going to start. And I'm not even racing myself then that day. It's just, I cannot wait. But just to see everything is starting, it's just... then I'm 36, but I'm just pumped to see how virtually drivers will perform and who does well. And if we were right with our predictions or wrong, which sometimes also is nice to see we're wrong.
Yeah.
Ed?
I've just learned that Menno is 6 years older than me. But, anyway, I'm very excited, obviously, for Super League and indeed for Super Lights coming up shortly as well. But I think FS2 and FS1, I've got a team in FS2 and FS1 is always sort of where my heart's always been as well. I've always had a bit of a, held out a bit of a candle for it. So I'm really excited to be commentating on it. And I know Aaron is as well. So it's going to be fun, frantic, and yeah, such a high level all across the field, really. So our rookies are going to get up to speed quickly, and I'm sure all our top drivers are going to put on a show.
I can't wait either. First round, when you see this, will be tomorrow, the Formula Sprint 2 opener. And yeah, very excited to see that. And we have a few nice things planned in the broadcast as well, across the 2 weeks, across all 5 series. And I'm very grateful for everyone who's worked hard behind the scenes. We've got another podcast coming for Super Lights and Super League as well, with myself, Carlos, and Caitlin Penny, and we've already recorded that, and it's that was a lot of fun as well. So yeah, look, thank you so much for being involved. You know, make sure you subscribe and like the video on YouTube. It does help us out. But we'll see you soon. And until then, thank you very much for watching. And here's how you can watch us in 2026.